Welcome into an all-new episode of Panthers on Tap. I'm Curtis Rauen, joined by Ricky Raines. Bryson has the week off, really. He's going to party it up. Hopefully he's fine, right? Me saying this in Nashville for a bachelor party.
Go track him down, see if you can find him.
Ricky, it is good to see you. You're on the other side, out of the draft guide cave. You got her done. 200 and I'm not going to short you here. 232 pages. This thing is a beast. I first want to commend you. You've put in a ton of hours for this. It is free for Panthers fans to use. It is one of the greatest things that a content creator does for our fan base. So thank you for that, and good to see you.
Well, that was awful kind of you. I appreciate that welcoming in. Look, man, I'm very happy about it. I'm very proud of it. Edgar did a great job as well working on this thing with me. It is we've said this 10 times and we've done like 35 shows in the last 2 days. It's been ridiculous. A labor of love. That is the way that we describe it. It is the truth. We loved putting it together. We loved the idea of people reading this thing during the draft. You get a lot of my personality in there, man. So you know that it's the real deal for me. You'll get a lot of my weird analogies, a lot of my weird, comparison things that don't make any sense to a normal functioning brain, but one that has been riding off of caffeine, whiskey, and more caffeine and more whiskey for 6 months straight. That's how it ends up presenting itself. I'm happy to be here. Curtis, when you started playing the intro music, I was like, oh no, he hit the wrong one again, because I've just been doing Draft Crush. So all I've heard is the Draft Crush one. So I'm happy to be here with some new music. And we got some friends tonight, man, and I'm super excited to talk to them tonight too.
Yeah, I apologize. I do want to commend Edgar on this. I know you guys, this is kind of your guys' thing these last 2 years. You guys had you had a great guest a couple of weeks ago on going through some rankings.
Yeah, shout out Matt Waldman.
He is great. That's one of our favorite shows of the year. But Edgar too. Edgar does all the tracking of visits. I don't think every fan base does this. So shout out to Edgar. I know that there's a lot going into that and just staying ahead of every visit and Instagram profile and the stories and everything else to try to figure out what Carolina is doing. So hats off to Edgar as well. Like Ricky said, we have a great guest lineup this evening. We will get to them shortly here. We got JJ in the coming in here shortly.
He's in the green room waiting on us, man.
Yeah.
So now, if you got anything negative to say about JJ, get it out quick. Get it out fast.
Let's bring him in here. JJ, it is. Oh, and he's got the Notre Dame shirt on. Look at that. He's ready to roll. JJ, it is good to see you, man. I think it's been, man, it might have been that playoff game is the last time I saw you, and that was in person, and that was a roller coaster ride for sure.
It was fun though, man. I still appreciate you guys for inviting me up to do my thing with y'all. And I mean, one of the best game experiences I've ever had. I just hate that it didn't end in a victory for us, but thoroughly enjoyed my time hanging out with you and Bryson, man.
Yeah, I didn't get to go. I didn't get the extended invite. I'm just kidding. I wasn't able to.
But you were downtown.
I was, yeah.
Uptown. You were uptown.
I was there. I was there for the Cam Newton pregame and doing all the fun stuff. Had a couple 21-year-olds throw me a can of beer to shotgun and showed them, old dog still got a couple tricks.
I saw
it. JJ, man, I'm glad to see you. You and I, we do the spaces every now and then, Tackle Tuesdays together, and have our different perspectives where we kind of like the meeting of the minds and talk through some things. And so I'm excited tonight on the eve of the draft to finally get to kind of the culmination of a lot of those conversations between you and I, man, where like we get to really see where did we land on all these conversations. Did we get to a place of understanding? Are we at a place where we can come together and make some of these decisions? But I always appreciate your insight and perspective. So I'm looking forward to that tonight. And then we have Kev will be here from the 4-man rush at some point. And Edgar Salmingo, friend of the show, friend of everybody's. He's America's sweetheart. Julia Roberts, watch out. He's coming for you.
Yeah, Kev's booting up the laptop. Edgar's on his way home. So we should have those guys shortly. We won't start the mock without them. It'll be fun. We're going to be doing a mock draft of what we would do. This is not predictive. We've already done that. So this is full reins for us, and we'll try to have 5 guys decide on a pick. It should be interesting.
Be chaos. Hey, should we get through while we wait for the other guys? Should we get through some of the chat? Because we've got some people already active in here that have been. I got to commend a lot of these people in here too in the chat. So when we bring up their names, I do want to mention something specifically, like Keaton. First of all, we back round 2. My man Keaton has been in almost every show that I've been doing, and he's been active, talking, contributing. And man, I thank you, Keaton. Like, I appreciate that. The people that come in and they watch our shows in the middle of the day, at night, random pop-up shows. I appreciate so much the people that do that, man, because it's half the reason, if not more, that Edgar and I even do any of this stuff. So shout out Keaton, shout out Race and Jason.
Yeah, Ray, Keaton, I appreciate you too. You are religiously on every one of our listening live, every podcast. So I appreciate you as always. The Carolina Beast, I was going back to Ricky's draft guide. Shout out to the Panthers podcast community. Y'all keep cooking year round. What's up, fellas? That's Complex
What up,
Season.
Complex Season?
Clay Wright's in here.
Hey, shout out Clay too, man. Clay, I don't know if you watched the earlier one today, but I got your donation for the Carolina Draft Guide, man, and I appreciate that very much. If you haven't noticed, Curtis did mention it is a free document, man. By all means, go in there, check it out, just look at it, enjoy it. But if you feel compelled to support financially, we do have my Venmo page is now in the guide as well. It's on the second page with a little scan that you can go to, click it, or you can go online, you can find it there. The money is going to be split between Edgar and I, whatever it is that we accrue. My son has a dance-a-thon fundraiser going on right now for his Title I public elementary school here in Charlotte. The goal, his birthday is also on Saturday. And the goal right now is to try to get him to be the #1 kid in his school. He's like a couple $100 short right now, but he's raised a ton of money for this school, man. And I want to surprise him with a really cool thing. So my portion of the donations are going to go directly to that dance-a-thon by the end of the day on Friday to see if we can't push him over the top and give him a little feather in his cap for his birthday.
We got Oren Wheeler in here. Just finished watching the predictive draft from earlier today. Perfect timing. Wesley Carrier, our man, in labor and delivery.
Hey, Wesley. Yeah.
Hey, we got to pour one out for Wesley here.
Mazel.
Cheers, sir.
Now, look, Wesley, I'm going to tell you, I had this saved in case I started getting sleepy. I brought my Reposado single barrel El Tesoro here that I was going to pour me a little baby shot of. I'm going to go ahead and do it for you right now, man, since it's a big day for you and the missus. Congratulations. I hope everything goes well. Keep us informed, man. Wesley has been a terrific supporter of Panthers on Tap for a long time. And I actually believe I was speaking to Wesley earlier today, and he was looking into finding ways to do some membership gifting that he's looking into. So we might even have some of that go on at some point. But hey, man, big day for you. You focus on the game ahead, buddy.
Amen. I hope everything goes well. Keep us posted. Congrats again, sir. Ricky will get that shot poured for you. I do want to shout out Dalton Hampton here. I'm so pumped. Appreciate you. What charity did that donation go to? Ricky, is that a question for you?
Which the charity donation that Edgar won? Because Edgar won the FPFO draft contest too, the mock draft contest.
JJ, where'd you land in that?
I met up with Edgar too early in the process, man. You know what?
Were we in the same region? I feel like we were.
That Group D was a minion, bro.
Yeah.
I voted for Edgar in our competition.
He had a good draft, man.
Especially for my taste, So he hit a lot of guys I like. So I actually voted for him. So
yeah, that region was brutal, and for us being the champs, man, I felt like we were Duke out there. It was ridiculous.
I don't remember I don't remember the exact name. Edgar will have to fill us in on exactly what it is, but I know that it was it's a charity near and dear to his heart. It's a marriage foundation, I think, that he's involved with, marriage and community in California. Keaton was talking about the $500 donation that went to the FPFO. That went into that charity, right?
Yeah, we donated. I think it was $250 into that the FPFO charity, and I think there were around $1,500. So hats off to them for raising all that. That was really cool this year. I know last year they gave away a shirt or they gave away something, and then this year they kind of upped it and did the charity, and it kind of took off. So I'm glad everyone who contributed that, whether it was $1 or 5 or 10 or whatever it was, that was a really cool thing that they put together. So I appreciate that.
Cheers,
Speaking
Wesley.
of speaking of giveaways, I just want to tease our show tomorrow before we actually get into the conversation here while we wait for Kev and Edgar to get going here. We will be doing a live watch party tomorrow night, starting at 7:45, reacting to the draft. That'll be on our YouTube platforms, me, Edgar, and Ricky. We'll hopefully have some people pop in and out too. It's kind of open. We're kind of an open book here with what happens, honestly. I know we had guys pop in last year here and there during the pick. So we'll probably do the same thing. And then we will be giving away a rookie jersey of whoever Carolina drafts at the end of that stream tomorrow night. So tune in for that. We'll get more details tomorrow morning about that. But be ready. It'll be a great
opportunity.
Cool.
Come and get you the brand new Panthers player's jersey on the first night, man. Be one of the first to grab that thing. That's
JJ, cool, while we are waiting on our guests here, I want to just give me your realistic draft crush of this draft for Carolina. Like, who is your guy when it comes to that 19th pick? Because we haven't really had you on the record on the show of where you're kind of at with that. But I'm just curious.
Realistic. And this is taking into consideration all the information we've gathered about, where prospects should land. And despite how much I like guys and think they might be underrated, I just don't think the Panthers will pick them there. So I'm going to keep it realistic to the guys I think I've seen most consistently. I have two. And that's Dylan Thieneman and Casey Concepcion. Between the two, for what I want us to do, sticking with my theme, I would have to go with Thieneman, to solve, our need to have a top flight safety. I really can't think of the last time Carolina had a really Pro Bowl caliber free safety. And I think Thieneman has the upside to be that. And so realistically, if he makes it to 19, I think I'd be slightly disappointed if we didn't pick him. So I like him. And then Casey Concepcion. I've always been a fan of his game. The crazy part is, when the college football game came out last year, I still kind of mess around with it. My son plays, and then when he goes away for a little while on a trip or something, I get in there and I try to mess around with it. And so I got to know a lot of the guys, from the 25 class just by like playing around with some of the teams. And actually I played with Clemson. And so you have to face NC State. And I'm like, man, who is this Concepcion dude out there? And then I started like following like his real life game. And I'm like, this dude is really a baller. Like, he's not just a video game baller, he's a real baller. And funny enough, Notre Dame played Texas A&M early this season. And so we saw them. I wasn't expecting him to be on A&M. And I was like, oh, shoot, like, what is he doing over here? I thought he was still at NC State. And man, like, that dude is scary, bro. And, we have a good secondary at Notre Dame. Leonard Moore is a top flight cornerback, probably be the top cornerback of next year's class.
Yep.
And Casey Concepcion, man, like, if he had better quarterback play, he would have ripped us apart. And he probably would have ripped college football apart if he had like a true accurate passing quarterback, that could consistently get him the ball when he was open, because it felt like he was always open. And then if he happened to get the ball in his hands, man, he is a headache. And so he perfectly fits what I think we need in terms of giving us something different from what we currently have. Like, we know T-Mac is our number one go-to, possession type, big catch type, red zone target type. And then we have like a guy that's similar to that in Coker. And so if you bring in somebody like Concepcion, who is a separator, I think he's a great separator. I think he's a good route runner. And I think if you even give him the ball on some of these short passes that, that Bryce, I think is, good at going to, when he has to, but also I think every good offense, every good quarterback relies on that, especially when they have good rat guys, man. Concepcion would be dynamite in this offense. And we just really haven't had a guy like that since, let's say, DJ Moore, maybe Curtis Samuel. But I think he is like a blend of those two guys. So anyway, those are my two realistic guys. I have other guys that I like, but I don't think is realistic for 19. So I just won't even mention them now. But if there was a honorable mention, there would be EMW, safety from Toledo. I think he is tantalizing in terms of that size, the speed. He has the turnover. He's a turnover machine. I forget how many fumbles he's forced in his career, but I mean, it's up there. I think he's a better coverage safety than he's given credit for, but he tackles well. It's just seeing guys like on your defensive back end that's that big, that rangy, short tacklers. They want to get the ball back for you. They're just intimidating, man. We saw what Eamon Rory did for the Seattle defense, and a lot of people.
And I think everyone's looking for that now. Like it's a copycat league. I mean, that's the reality of it.
So how can you watch that? How can you watch that guy basically be the heart and soul of that defensive back end for Seattle, and then have a chance to get a version of that, and just say, you know what, I'm a pass. So. Anyway, like if Thieneman is gone and he's still there, I would be tempted. I would be tempted to do that too. So anyway, those are my two in a possible that I realistically would want at 19.
Well, what I love about it, JJ, Casey Concepcion and Dylan Thieneman are both 5-star fits in my Carolina draft guide. And Casey Concepcion is one of, I believe, 2 wide receivers that is a 5-star fit for the Carolina Panthers, meaning there is interest, expressed interest, meetings, private meetings, fit rating is there. The play style, what's lacking currently in that position room for the Carolina Panthers, it is just a really perfect fit, and all of the stars align, meets the thresholds, all those kinds of things. And then Dylan Thieneman is a 5-star fit as well because we've had contact with him. And we have expressed interest in him. That is the, having that back of the defensive third level, having a communicator, having a diagnoser back there, but that also has all of the physical ability to be a ball hawking safety. And, his year at Purdue before he transferred, they used him more in that center field role. And he had 5 interceptions, I believe, that year as a freshman, true freshman. So his ball production wasn't the same at Oregon. They asked him to do a lot of different things at Oregon. He played a different style, and he still did it at a very high level. And that versatility is also a thing that I think is sure to pique Evero's interest as well on that defensive side. So those are good guys. OPM, I want to shout him out because he says JJ likes KC, and that means we're drafting a lineman. That's the way it goes, right? Anytime you fall in love with somebody, man, that's the last person that we get. Shout out OPM. He's in here. He said, yo, what's up, good fellas? And then shout out my guy, Low, Made for More here. The pregame podcast, also good friend of the show, good friend of mine. I always appreciate Low being in here. JP back in here in the UK at 2 a.m. He was in for the afternoon show today, and I enjoyed that for him because he could actually have some fun. And now he's sitting here 3 hours or 5 hours away from his work shift, and he's still joined with us. So I appreciate that. JLC, love all these pods. Much appreciation to you boys. Thieneman. I love hearing the hype for Dylan Thieneman. Because that is a player that I highlighted very early on in this process on this show. We have talked about him for months at a time, and I was met with a lot of people saying it's too early to take a safety, right? And I was on the train of Malachi Starks last year and got the same reaction of too early to take a safety. Now, Malachi didn't have the huge year in Baltimore like everyone would have hoped he did, but that's still a ball player, man. And you see the impact that some of these really great safeties on the back end of defenses are making. You bring up Eamon Rory. I actually think Eamon Rory plays a much different game than McNeil Warren, the guy that you were just talking about. Body frame maybe is a similarity, but I think that the athleticism and things are quite different for me, my perspective, right? So that's a conversation I look forward to having. We'll get this super chat real quick. Keaton, cigars inside tomorrow night, fellas. Yeah, remember last year, Bryson, we drafted Tedero and McMillan, and Bryson comes out here and starts lighting a cigar inside. He got in a lot of trouble for that. And now his wife is expecting. So there ain't no cigars inside this year. Cheers, Keaton.
Cheers. Ricky, we didn't even tell folks what we're drinking.
What we're drinking? Yeah, I just realized that. I'll start us off with that. JJ, you drinking coffee?
Bro,
They got that Starbucks special.
No, you know what? I was addicted to Starbucks and like right after Christmas, this past Christmas, or was it last year? I forget. I bought my wife an espresso machine, like a nice one. And so I get two espressos or 2 lattes a day.
I love it, man. I love it.
I used the Starbucks cups, so when we we go to Starbucks and order water and come home and I use them daily.
Ricky, I know you got something special.
Well, no, nothing special. I got a little sip of sunshine, Lawson's IPA here. And then when I'm done with that, I got my Edmonds O's, something cold, just a blonde ale. I don't have anything crazy. I have not had much time to run out and do much shopping. And then I have my tequila if things get crazy. Make sure I had that on deck.
Yeah, I got Michelob. You're never getting anything special.
God, just never do nothing for the people, Curtis. Come on, man.
Hey, I'm pounding them left and right. That should be good enough.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I see.
All right,
somebody
let's
else
get our
in the
next
green room.
guest in here. Kevin joins the show. Kev, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Man, I'm doing all right. Dealing with the nuances of buying. Excited about buying a brand new laptop, but had to forget I had to go through every security detail from here to the Pentagon to verify that I'm not spammed again. I had to answer questions and former password. I'm like, it's like I should have started up like 30 minutes ago instead of my usual 5-minute warm up. So, but I'm here.
Good to see you, Kev. Always appreciate you being here, bro.
Good to see you.
Yeah, man. I just had good news. I went to my follow up today. I had right knee surgery back on the 10th. They cut the stitches out today, but I'm still out of work until June 1st. So I don't know if that's good for extended vacation or
take advantage
be
of
a while
man.
before I see another weekly paycheck. So I'm trying to balance out good versus evil. So.
Well, when you wake up and you got a little bit of free time, enjoy it, man, because life is going to come at you fast once you don't got the free time. So enjoy it while you got it, bro.
Kev, I want to ask you while we're still kind of waiting. I'm trying to delay here a little bit until we get Edgar in here. We asked JJ who his realistic draft crush would be for Carolina at 19. Where do you sit? Who's kind of your favorite player for that spot of where Carolina's picking?
My gut is telling me someone we're not thinking about is going to fall to kind of put us in a quadrant, even though we're picking at 19. For me, the draft doesn't start until we see what Dallas does at 12. For me, as Jerry is so unpredictable. But if you force me to it, as of right now, it's a split between the safety from Oregon, Dylan. I keep messing up his last name, even though I'll be posting about him. And the whichever one of them Utah offensive tackles are available, sitting there. Y'all know me, I'm a trench guy. All this, shiny toys and wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs, and this, that, and third. If we don't want Bryce Young reliving the 2023 season of protection, we got to shore it up. And I know people be like, "But man, we signed Rashid at left tackle." Okay, yeah, all right. But if there was ever a draft to secure your offensive line future, this is the one. And I think that and anybody know I'm probably the biggest Ike Ekwonu fan out there. Went through hell and high water defending him from the day he was drafted. The thing is, even though they're keeping a tight lip about it, anytime a big man, especially his size, has a lower leg injury, the chances of him coming back effective as he was is not favorable if you look at the quote statistics, the history. So as much as I want to feel like he'll make a comeback later on the season, if I'm a GM, I got to plan like he's not coming back. That's just how I look at it.
Kev, do you buy into, while we're talking about that, I feel like yesterday all these national reporters got some sort of dump from some of these teams or whatever folks want to believe. You had Rappaport, Albert Breer, and Dan Graziano almost saying the same thing, just worded differently, that Carolina is a potential team, or Carolina is a team that has done extensive research on this offensive tackle class, and they're a team that could possibly trade up ahead of the Lions to go and get a guy. All three of them said basically a variation of that. Are you buying into that, or is that just smoke? Because we also heard Dave Canales say that he's not going to draft a guy for depth. He wants a guy who's going to start. I mean, how much weight do you put into Canales' comments, and how much weight do you put in the three national guys saying the same damn thing?
Smoke screen. I've learned they, Canales, Morgan, whenever they talk, Ricky, you appreciate this. They're running the old wing T misdirection type with the media. They pulling guards to the left this way while running the back this way, and I just think that, which is smart on their part, not to tip their hand. That's why they're keeping such a tight lip about Icky. Not people think they're pigeonholing themselves into taking a tackle at 19. So I just think it's more smoke and mirrors than anything of relevance, because here's the thing. That's the national media, and we've seen how far off they're more often on when it comes to what we actually do and what's actually revealed later on, as far as like an intent. Like I love when Blueprint come out, because it pulls up the receipts from the all season of what people were thinking and claiming that Carolina was doing this. Inside source says this, and it's like that was never part of the program. But I think they're letting them have fun saying what they want while keeping it tight to the chest.
Yeah. I do want to ask this. We had a super chat earlier, and this is kind of jumping around a little bit here, but Dalton Hampton asked this, and this can go for Ricky or JJ. Are we buying into the Amari Cooper Jr. steam? I don't know exactly what he's referencing. I saw something today, so if someone can fill me in a little bit on this. But what are you guys' thoughts? Does anyone know what? I guess I'm not.
I've seen that Omar Cooper has been mocked recently to 16 to the Jets. And they've talked about Carolina having interest in Omar Cooper. And to me, it does make sense. It makes perfect sense because of what JJ was talking about with KC Concepcion. And it's the archetype of receiver, the yak generator, right? A tough physical presence that you can use in multiple alignments. He can create with the ball in his hands. He can kind of be an outlet for a quarterback like Bryce Young that needs to have his playmakers actually make plays and not just have the play stop where the ball is caught. Omar Cooper Jr. is a good prospect, man. He is I was telling JJ, there's 2 wide receivers that I have with a 5-star rating in the guide. Omar Cooper Jr. is the second one. I think that he fits exactly in the range of when he could possibly come off the board. When the Panthers are picking, they've met with him. They've expressed interest. He makes a ton of sense. Will he be there at 19? That's a good question. It's a question we have with pretty much all these guys we're talking about, especially Dylan Thieneman. And speaking about Dylan Thieneman as well, salesman. First of all, shout out salesman. Awesome guy. Awesome. One of the funniest things. Yeah, hilarious. It's good to know that he is here tonight watching. That means that he has not had a rough encounter with the Ruby Tuesday salad bar today, and he is free and able to roam a free-range chicken tonight. Salesman, appreciate you being here.
He might be on the toilet right now.
He might be. That might be the best time for him, right, to catch a show. But he says, give me an offensive tackle, which will make Kev smile and music to his ears. He says, or a safety. And you know what, salesman, I think that those are 2 positions, regardless of if it's 19 or if it's 51 or 83. I think those are day 1 and day 2 targets for this team. And I think that they need to be, because you haven't invested a premier pick into those positions in quite a long time. I think that when you start going through and realizing that, hey, we don't have a premier talent at these positions, and that could be a difference maker for both units. We saw how much Carolina wants to put, the heavy personnel in. Doesn't do much good to have your tight ends out there if your offensive tackles are struggling too, right? You're going to need to fortify that entire front unit in front of your quarterback for the run game, because people got to remember too, man, it ain't just protecting Bryce Young. Dave Canales wants to run the football, man. That's the crux of this offense. So you got to have the offensive line to be able to do that job. And then safety, we've mentioned that multiple times. So I appreciate both of those comments in unison. I think that's it's a good place to start.
Hey, Ricky.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
Go ahead.
Did you guys see Daniel Jeremiah's most recent draft that was posted an hour ago?
I just briefly looked at it. Yeah, he had us take a Dylan Thieneman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's telling that I guess he heard early in the offseason that the Panthers really wanted to add a premier pass rusher and a center fielder.
He heard that at the Senior Bowl. That's where he was citing that. Those were the two position groups. I heard him talking the other day. He was on some podcast, and that was kind of his feeling on the Panthers pick was Thieneman. However you want to pronounce his name. I've heard it both ways now from national guys. I've heard Thieneman. I've heard Thieneman. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I feel like, one guy we haven't talked about who's been mocked a ton too is the other Oregon guy, and that's Kenyon Sadiq. And I know he's been mocked a bunch of times too to Carolina. And that, I mean, we can talk about that as we get moving. I did want to mention there was a chat that we started here that we wanted to talk about. Fowler, I haven't seen this this month. Did this come out today? Several NFL scouts believe Jacob Rodriguez will be the second off by linebacker drafted. I believe Jeremiah said that too as well, and he wouldn't be shocked if that guy ended up on day one being picked. Panthers, Bills among teams that did extensive homework on Rodriguez. I feel like he's one of the polarizing prospects of this fan base. There's folks that really like him, like me, and then there's folks that are like, this guy's got flaws. Is that a fair assessment, Ricky? I don't know. I just feel like there's just kind of you either like this guy or you're kind of like, I don't mind him, but I'd like to go somewhere else if we go to that position.
I think the most important thing to start off with when we talk about this guy has flaws, every single prospect has flaws. There's not a finished product, and we're talking Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese, Caleb Downs. There's not a finished product, 100% sure thing. You're going to get an all-pro, and there's no ifs, ands, buts about it with anybody coming out, right?
He has more flaws than you'd like.
Well, and some of them can be looked at as, deal-breaking type of situations for some people when you're evaluating a prospect. Jacob Rodriguez, no one is going to question his mental acumen, his diagnosing ability, his motor, the way he wants to play the game, the way he wants to impact and turn the ball over and get the ball back to his offense. He's tremendous in all of those forms. He's a great athlete. His testing really helped him. I thought that the combine doesn't make or break players, or at least it shouldn't. But what it can do is it can answer questions that maybe you're not sure about on film and you want to know how does that translate to the next level. Athletic testing helped him a lot because it does show this dude is a fast, rangy guy. He's good in close quarters, but the fluidity of movement was never in question for me. Jacob Rodriguez, for me, as a linebacker, as a middle linebacker, as a Mike or a Will even, if you want to play him in that role, he avoids contact, man. And I look for linebackers. Personally, I look for linebackers that welcome collision, that initiate collision. A lot of NFL stuff, you are going to have to blow through people, not around them. And a good offensive coordinator is going to recognize weakness in certain positions, certain players, certain levels on the defense. And if your defense is not ultra physical, they are going to bring the physic to you. They are going to come into your wheelhouse and they are going to force you to take on these big offensive guards. They're going to pull, they're going to get guys in space. They're going to put their 13 personnel and challenge you with the, Will Kazmareks, with the Jackson Hawes in the NFL, these tight ends that want to grade the road ahead of them and open up holes and latch on. Jacob Rodriguez has struggles with that. And that's not a knock. Like, that's not me saying that he can't be good, but that's a real thing, man. Will the peanut punch be as effective in the NFL as it was for him in the in college ball? Because that was his big weapon for turnovers. In the NFL, I believe I see more turnovers happen from collision. That's where I see more turnovers forced, especially you're talking second level and, in the scrum at the line of scrimmage. I don't see as much of the peanut punch. The peanut punch I see a lot more in pursuit. And that means that you've already given up the yards, right? You're trying to make good on it. So that is something that I think is worth looking at. But hey, if he gets drafted by the Carolina Panthers, I'm not going to be mad at it. I have a second round grade on Jacob Rodriguez. He is my linebacker 5. I prefer guys like Josiah Trotter. I think that Josiah Trotter is the old school type of linebacker that is young. He has coverage issues right now, but his athleticism and diagnosis in the run game and keying in on his signals, I think shows that he has the processing ability to read coverages and read, route patterns in front of him that he can stay with. Getting to depth in zone drops is going to be a thing that he's going to have to work on. And that's going to scare some people off because of Trevin Wallace. But Trevin was a much different player in college than Josiah Trotter proves to be already. So for me, man, it's a preference thing in the way that I value linebackers and evaluate that position. But Rodriguez is good. I think that 19 is very rich. If they trade back and they go to 28 to Houston, who is rumored to want to trade up and grab them an offensive tackle in the front half of the first round, maybe at 28 you could convince me that it's not a misstep. But if you're staring at Jacob Rodriguez or a guy like Casey Concepcion or Caleb Lomu, it's going to be tough to sell me on Rodriguez being the more valuable pick there over those other guys personally.
JJ or Kevin, you guys, I want to hear you guys' opinions on this because people know our opinions, me and Ricky's. I want to know what you guys think of this guy.
Well, I mean, Rodriguez, to be honest, I'm pretty clear on Twitter about the guys that I really speak highly of, and those are the guys that I actually watched. I'm not a film guy. I don't try to be one, but I watch football in real time every Saturday. And I really didn't learn much about Rodriguez until late in the college season, when people started talking about Texas Tech and the success they were having and the success he was having. And I did see him in, I want to say it must have been in their, did they play in the conference championship or bowl game or something?
Yeah, they were bowl game too. Yeah.
Yeah, and thinking the bowl game is my first time putting eyes on him. And he didn't like stand out in that game. But he wasn't a liability either, right? He made plays, he was where he was supposed to be. So from that perspective, I'm big on defense. And so I went out and tried to, watch, little cut-ups of him, stuff that would be shared online. And I think he's solid, for all the reasons that Ricky mentioned. I mean, he won the Butkus Award, right? He was in Charlotte, getting that trophy for a reason.
Many awards, man. He is a highly decorated college player.
And I'm one of those people that across the years, like I pay attention to that stuff. Like if you win like SEC Defensive Player of the Year, I think that's a big deal. If you win a national award like that, for the best linebacker, the best running back, best receiver, I think that's a big deal. And I think, he deserves to be lauded, for having so much success, at the collegiate level, playing against high level talent. And I think it's going to translate, especially like that award. And I know it doesn't happen every season, but like that's one of those awards when somebody wins it collegiately, and if they have like the measurables, the size and everything, to fit at the NFL level, then normally they come to the NFL and have some level of success, right? And so when they say he's going to be the second linebacker taken, that doesn't mean it has to be in the first round either.
Right.
I don't think, when they say that too, I think there's some semantics there because I'm assuming they're saying that Arvell Reese is going to be an edge and Sonny Styles is going to be the first linebacker taken.
Yeah, right? And that's the determination they say there with the off ball,
off ball
asterisk, if you will, to make sure, right?
Yeah, so I know some people are looking at Reese like he could be off ball too, but I think in this consensus he's an edge, right?
I play him off ball.
See, I knew. I knew that, yeah.
I'm a weirdo. So, I like it.
So, but Sonny, not Sonny, Jacob. Yeah, Jacob. I think he could be the second off-ball, prototypical off-ball linebacker taken, but it could be at the top of the second round, or like you said, Ricky, at the end of the first. And for us, it would only make sense if we were to trade back to 28, 29, something like that, and pick him up there. Because at that point, you get in your guy, you don't believe you're going to get him as your natural second round pick, and you just take him and you say, oh well, you know what, we got an extra pick in the second, or whatever, and we picked up the guy we wanted, and you stand on that. But I wouldn't pick him at 19.
And he could be a prime candidate too for a Nick Scorton type move by the Panthers, right? Where if they are really high on him and he starts falling into that 38, 39, 40 range in round two, you go up and get him. If you're convicted
yeah.
on him, maybe that's where they have the value on him, right?
I
That
would
was
do
going to
that.
be my question. I think we're probably all in the same. I don't think he's there at 51. I don't. Like I am. I mean, maybe someone disagrees with me on that, and we're going to bring in our next guest here shortly. But I think they have to trade up if they really want him in the second. But let's bring in Edgar here.
While we
Edgar,
bring in Edgar, I'm gonna hit these super chats real quick so that we're
Yes,
ready to
dig
hit the Edgar. How are you? I'm gonna talk over you for just a second to get through these super chats, and then we're gonna give you the floor, my good friend. Ben Davis has a couple here. Says DJ just mocks us Dilly T. Dilly T. That's all right. That might change, or that might help with the name pronunciation issue that's going around. Ben, first of all, cheers. Thanks for a super chat, man. Glad you're here with us. And then we have one more from Ben. Dilly T in round 1 and Max Clear in round 2 would feed me.
You peek ear at Ricky's ears.
Hey, Max Clear, that is the guy that I've been banging the drum for. If you watched the predictive draft earlier with Edgar Salmingo and I, that was a guy that we both actually took at 53 today. So it's going to be interesting to see when that conversation comes up in the second round. But I agree. I think that would be a home run pick 1 and 2 for us, to be completely honest. Did we have, I think there was another comment that I wanted to pull up beforehand. Oh, Katie's here. First of all, shout out Katie. Finally here. Hi, fellas. Hi, Katie. How are you?
She got the draft hat this past week as the winner didn't claim it. So
that's Katie from Twitter.
That's Katie from Twitter.
Yep.
Katie was actually JJ. She was at that playoff game, not too far from us. She's been a follower, listener of ours. She's great. Appreciate you, Katie. $1.99. Cheers,
Katie.
Oh,
and
yeah.
if you guys got a drink, cheers them, damn it. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have them, but cheers.
It's just us. Everyone drinking coffee.
We got JJ will be on his 6th latte by the end of the night.
They're on the Ricky Reigns formula tonight, man. Drinking coffee at 9:00 in the evening. Well, Edgar's only it's 6:45 over there for him. He's still living in the past.
Before
hard life,
Edgar,
man.
we get it. Before we let Edgar speak here, Edgar, I gave you your flowers before, but I wanted to shout you out with the stuff you guys did with the draft guide. The tracking you do every season, I think everyone takes that for granted. So I just wanted to thank you for that, because not every fan base gets that. And I know that takes a lot, and searching and finding guys and whatever else you do to get that information. I wanted to shout you out for that, because I do appreciate that. I do think that provides insight, whether we want to believe a 30 visit is going to lead to a pick or not. I do think it's valuable for us to know. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. Like I was telling you, Curtis, like having the gang back together, like we do this preseason, we do a pre-draft. It's like a holiday gathering. And so I'm happy to do this get together with y'all. And thank you for the flowers, Curtis.
I'd like to thank him, Patchy, the Fade King, real quick, because we've had a lot of people wanting to take the guys that I like. And I feel like that's just putting bad juju that was never going to happen for me, because the universe doesn't like to see me happy all the time. So him, Patchy, the Fade King, appreciate you putting that negativity out there for me, pal. Like, I really do like it, man. Keep on throwing the negativity out there, and maybe Max Clare finds his home here in Process Blue, and eventually you could be on the show again and be like, man, I was so right about that. He's so good, and we'll just ignore this comment from you.
Yes, shit on Ricky's picks.
Please
Jalen
do.
Polk.
Please do. All right, look, hey, Jalen Polk is a saint now, and I don't want that to turn into a Ricky was right situation. Let's hope that was me being wrong. Complex season with the $4.99 super chat. Appreciate you, Complex. He's been in a bunch of our shows as well, watching our afternoon daytime fun as well. So cheers, man. Appreciate you, buddy.
Cheers.
All right, should we get into this thing?
Oh,
I did have one. I wanted one more exercise here before we get into mock draft. But go ahead, Kevin.
No, I was just gonna say I'm gonna drop off my phone. Everything with my laptop is running now, and so I'm gonna enter back into the studio through my laptop instead of my phone. So I'll just give you a heads up to look out for me.
Yeah.
Yep. Sounds good.
I did want to ask you guys this. This wasn't no prep, and this doesn't have to. You don't have to think long and hard about this. But I posed this to Twitter today, and I thought it was interesting. Someone had commented on one of our tweets, and it made me think of the idea. So whoever did that, shout out them. But I did this fill in the blank thing, and I don't know if you guys saw this, where I was like, Brant Tillis wants blank, Dan Morgan wants blank, Dave Canales wants blank, Ajiro Evero wants blank. Ricky's going to kill me because I never told him about this beforehand, but that's all right. So with that said, I guess I'll start to give you guys some time to kind of think of who you think they would consider as we try to figure out this. There we go. Personally, if I go with Tillis, I think this guy is looking for the future. He's already said he's thinking 2 years out on picks, on the free agency, everything else. So personally, I think he would want them to go offensive line with the first pick. Guys that come to mind: Monroe Freeling, Caden Proctor, if he falls and doesn't get picked by the Lions or the Eagles potentially. Dan Morgan, I do think Dan Morgan wants Thieneman. Or Thieneman. I think he adds an element. We talked about it before you guys got on, to this defense that is missing and really kind of shores up that back end for Carolina. Dave Canales, I think Dave wants Casey Concepcion. I don't think he wants – I just never have seen a tight end fully flourish in his offense. I know the Sadiq hype is there. But I think Canales, if he had to pick, the guy loves wide receivers, and I think Concepcion, I think JJ nailed it before. He gives Carolina exactly what they need in that wide receiver room. And then Ejiro Evero, I think it's Thieneman too. I think that gives him that Vic Fangio style of Cooper DeJean. I know he plays it. I know he's a little bit different position and he's more of a corner, but I think that would give Evero that back end safety that they really need, a guy they can kind of move around. Ricky talked about it. He got mixed up a little bit this year with the Ducks, which I honestly think is good for him to give him that versatility, and he wasn't just that back end guy. But those are probably mine, and hopefully that gave you guys enough time. I tried to buy you guys enough time there. Who wants to go next with this little exercise, and then we'll get Kevin in here.
Somebody else go, because I got to admit that I wasn't paying full attention. I was trying to fix cameras. So somebody else go so I can hear this again.
I'm going to go.
Thanks, JJ.
So I think if it's Tillis, and I'm a channel Tillis channeling JJ, Peter Woods, or Jamar McCoy. And maybe I'll flip that. Maybe I go with Jamar McCoy, because I think Tillis would be thinking, if I can get a lockdown corner who only slipped because of his injury history, and we brought him in and we checked him out, and his medicals aren't a concern. And I've heard that they are, but I want it to be different, so I would say that he's interested in seeing if he can get blue chip value at 19. So I'm gonna take my gamble with Tillis. For Morgan, I think it's Thieneman, because I think he finally gets an opportunity to focus on defense, and somebody who can be the quarterback or of the back end, to be if Daniel Jeremiah was telling the truth about what he heard early in the offseason, then I think Thieneman would fit that description of getting a true center fielder back there. And so he gets a chance to put his I think the last puzzle piece of his offseason together for that defense. And I think it'd be great to get that piece. Canales, the same thing as you. Concepcion, I think that's the piece that he's looking for, to unlock his offense, right? And then Evero, same deal. I think he's thinking Thieneman. I can finally go get that safety that has full command and gives me all the versatility that I seek on the back end. I think, with J.C. Horn, and I don't know how it tied in with the safeties, but with J.C. Horn, I think gave up this week in terms of how they were so successful. I think having a piece like Thieneman, it helps Evero do that even better. And so that's how I think it would go. I know the Tillis thing was kind of wild out there, but I had to get an opportunity to plug my guy Peter Woods. And so I hope that he would be willing to take a risk like that. And McCoy, because I couldn't say those names, for my desired picks at 19, because I don't think they're realistic. But I hope that Tillis is pounding the table for one of those guys.
Edgar, what about you? Is Edgar there?
He might not be able to hear you. Edgar, you listening to us? This happened earlier on Draft Crush. Edgar was ignoring me multiple times. Can you hear me now, Edgar?
I can hear you. I didn't know somebody said my name.
Edgar, what do you think? What's your 4 real quick with Tillis, Morgan, Canales, Evero?
Sorry,
You got us?
I got you, but I thought I heard something else.
You all right?
I'm all right. I'm good.
All right.
Um,
So those four guys, who do you think they want?
I'm gonna put Morgan and Tillis together, and I'm gonna say like they want the smart salary cap like premium value. So I'm not thinking they like safety. I'm thinking they don't like tight end, and so I'm gonna go with an offensive tackle, a wide receiver, something that like makes sense money wise. I know it's not the impact player that like Canales said, but like this offensive line is like super expensive. They don't have a Quanu this year for most of the year, for a lot of the year. This could be, for all intents and purposes, this could be Moten's last year. And so in an ideal world, you get someone like a Lomu, like a Freeling, like a Blake Miller, like I know it got a lot of heat on Twitter today, but a Hanachor from Arizona State. Like you could invest and make it so that they could take the offensive line next year and they're good to go and put them under their wing. So once they're gone, like you don't have to find someone to plug in and figure it out. I was thinking Canales, obviously wide receivers coach, former wide receivers coach, is a wide receivers guy. So I'm going to say Casey Concepcion. And then for Evero, I'm going to go with what JJ said. I think he wants Jermon McCoy. Like I think he wants a corner. The skeptical part about for me is like I know there's all the smoke about Dylan Thieneman, but like this team has not invested in a safety like last year. We were talking about this exactly a year ago. Us together were talking about this idea of like Xavier Watts, Billy Bowman, all these people were on the board and he's passed in all these safeties. So like for me, it's just hard to believe. I know Thieneman's just a different level, so this is like it's just completely different than the people we were talking about last year. But like in free agency, we were talking about last year, like, oh, there's all these great free agent safeties that you can pick up. I know they got married, but they got nobody, right? They decided not to punt. And so if they decide to invest heavily on safety, like that would be new to me. I would like to have someone that can be flexible and versatile and fit the system, but I have a feeling that Evero being a defensive backs coach is like, just give me, I was telling this to Ricky earlier, they may do with Mike Jackson, who his team didn't want. They may do with Corey Thornton, right? They could do something with people that maybe people don't value highly. They just need the traits and the tools and they could figure out the rest.
All right.
Ricky, you want to go?
Yeah, I do, because I think that everyone is saying really smart and interesting answers here.
Throw us a curveball. Let's go.
No, I'm going to give you a curveball, but in the vein of what everyone is talking about of wanting a blue chip player, right? And the value there. And I think that everyone will actually be on the same page with this, similar to the way that they were with the Tetterow and McMillan pick. I think that if this guy drops to you at 19, I think that they will all be on the same page and take Dylan Thieneman. I truly do, because I think that you're talking about a blue chip player and you can say that the value of a safety, whatever. Don't forget that Brant Tillis' first season in Kansas City was 2010. In 2010, they selected Eric Berry out of the University of Tennessee as a safety, when that was a trajectory-changing draft pick for that defense. And I think then you talk about Dan Morgan and the time that he spent in Buffalo, right? Think about the safeties and the importance that they had in Buffalo. Think about the time for Dave Canales and Dan Morgan spent in Seattle with that secondary and what their defense is built on because of that, and why they like Evero as much as they do. And then tell me that Ejiro Evero wouldn't be firmly on the pick of Dylan Thieneman and say, hey, we have stressed communication and being smart on the back end of our defense. That is exactly what Dylan is. But he's also the playmaker. He's also the athlete. He's also a versatile chess piece. He's a coverage multiplier. These are the things that I think matter. Dave Canales took a step back as a play caller. He handed over those duties to Brad Idzik, right? That's because he is looking at it from a more CEO role right now. He wants to be more involved in everything from a holistic view. I think that getting a blue chip player is how that happens. As much as I like some of these offensive tackles, I think I'm going to give you one answer. And I think that if he was there, all of them would be on board with Dylan Thieneman.
All right, Kev, real quick, and then we're going to get to this mock draft because it's going to take us about 4 hours to get through. So what do you got for, I don't know if you joined us, but who Brant Tillis wants at 19, who Dan Morgan wants, who Dave Canales wants, who Ejiro Evero wants at 19? Give us the 4.
Okay, so for me, I said Brant Tillis would want, I said Sadiq, the tight end. I had said that Dan Morgan with like I keep getting them mixed up. What's his name? Fatu, the tackle out of Oregon.
Utah, Fano.
Fano, that's it. Yeah,
Fano,
I get
yeah.
Fatu from. Yeah.
Fatu, that could be the name tonight. We can call him Fatu. I don't care. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. I would say Dave Canales with like KC Concepcion. And then I'm with Ricky. I think Everett will want Dylan out of Oregon, the safety. So that's how I had when I saw your tweet. That's how I had retweeted it as the guys that they wanted.
I want to get to our. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I'm cutting you off.
No, I was just saying for the reasons. I'll make it brief because I know you want to jump into this mock draft here. Pretty much for all the reasons that Ricky has said. With Dave Canales pretty much being CEO, we pretty much seen if you give a quarterback an elite defense, the sky's the limit to where you can go. And I'm gonna say this until it happens to us. Sam freaking Darnold is a Super Bowl winning quarterback because he had an elite defense. So I think that taking Dylan out of Oregon,
JJ's all fired up right now.
I think taking Dylan would get us much closer to having an elite level defense because if you look at, we can say that Mike Jack and J.C. Horn, top 5 cornerback duo. Trevor Moorick, led all safeties and tackles for losses. You get us someone that's got the 2015 Kurt Coleman vibes that I think Dylan does out of Oregon, a ball hawk, someone that can go over the top when they run them 9 routes, those post corners. Someone that can give Bryce Young the ball back 2 or 3 more times. I just think that Thieneman makes us much more having a higher level. I don't want to use the word elite just yet because we got to see what that pass rush can do, but a higher level secondary that may give our front that extra second or two to get the pressures and sacks that we want. So that's how I see it.
I will say this. I have seen JJ been tweeting about that these last couple of weeks about the elite defense. So I'll give you your flowers, but I'm not going to let you go on a rant here. So hold on. Because we're going to get to the draft and we can get into that once we start the mock draft. Before we go any further, because we do have a ton more people in here since we started, 450 people listening, 10 o'clock at night, draft eve. We're tired of all the mock drafts. We're going to do one more tonight. But tomorrow, we are going to be live doing a watch party. Me, Ricky, and Edgar. We'll have some guests kind of trickling in throughout. 7:45. We'll start about 15 minutes before the first round. We'll react to all the picks. It's going to be a good one. I'm very excited. I haven't been able to do this because I've been to most of these drafts lately. But I'm excited to talk with Ricky, with Edgar, and to all you guys in the chat. So again, tomorrow, 7:45, we'll be there for that. So stay tuned for that. We do have a super chat I wanted to get to, and then we'll get into the mock draft. And that's all day threes and TDs. He says 199. Peter Woods at 19 is so wild to me. Love you, JJ. Look at that. You got a fan in the chat.
Cheers, first of all. And Edgar actually just did a spot on his show the other day. And I know that Jared, who also was in here, give Jared a shout out. He's in here as well. He was also a guest on his show earlier last week. So he's bringing in, some of our good friends. So you got to shout that out and check those episodes out too. Before we get into the draft, guys. Oh, okay. There's another one. Hold on. Mr. Hunky Dory, 74, $5. Thank you for the draft hat. I won. Very nice. Number 19 is not the pick. Panthers move up to take DT from Oregon. Surprise, surprise, surprise. I think that's in play too, man. I think anywhere from pick 14 to us is viable move up spot for the Carolina Panthers in round 1.
Yeah, and everyone it's been like the placeholder of Thieneman to go to Minnesota.
Yep.
That's been his placeholder. Does Carolina jump them to go and get him?
If they love him as much as we think they do, man, I think it's entirely possible they jump 3 spots. They got that 158 and 159 stack there that we got from Minnesota. You don't think a team would possibly, if we take like 83 and let's say they have pick 95 or something, right? We send them 83, we get 95, and then we send them one of those 158, 159 as a sweetener to swap those picks. That's the kind of trade that Brant Tillis has been liable to pull in Dan Morgan as well, where they don't lose a ton of value. They just kind of move up one, but they keep some of those other mid-round picks that they cherish as well.
And like Mike Kay said today too, the cherry on top would be if Carolina used the Minnesota Vikings pick to jump ahead Minnesota to get Thieneman
and steal their guy.
The Adam Thielen trade.
Sign me up.
Poetic. Man. It would be poetic.
As long as Dylan's wife doesn't jump on and talk about wanting to get out of Charlotte too quick, right? I can't handle another fella getting on and doing that. All right, one more super chat here from All Day Threes and TD says Sammy D.
Not talk about Sam Darnold in here. Let's move
no,
on,
but what he's
guys.
saying, this is an important thing though, because a lot of times people do talk about that elite Seattle defense, but their offense was also a top 10 offense last season as well. So the Panthers, if we're following that model, they have work to do on both sides. So it is important to make sure that we don't just say that, hey, a defense will get us there because our offense is close. There's work to be done on both sides. I just don't want people to dismiss the offensive line as a part of building that offense to that top 10 unit that everyone wants them to be as well, though. It's not just played by fast, skilled players. It is played by the guys that control the line of scrimmage, and that is a huge element that Seattle absolutely had in their bag as well, right? So let's make sure. And, they drafted Gray Zabel last year, rookie offensive lineman, center, that ended up paying dividends for them. So let's just keep that in mind when we're roster building tonight.
We got to cheers to that. Sorry, I didn't cheers. Appreciate you,
Cheers.
Threes and TDs.
500 people in here.
Hold on. Before we get to that, I just want to kind of set the stage a little bit here for this mock. And just so you all aware, I think we talked about this off the top, but this is not going to be a predictive mock draft. This is going to be what we want to do. And because some people, I just want to set that so folks know. And I think we're going to be using a different mock draft simulator. Ricky can kind of talk us through that too, because it's something I don't think I've used at least yet.
Well, and we have two options. I'd like to veer off of the PFF simulator. I think that since their whole purge has happened, they haven't necessarily kept up with everything the way that it is. Oscar Delp is still ranked at 225 and is going in round 7, and that's just not going to happen. So when we look at some of these things and we can tell that there are unrealistic tendencies, I tend to try to sway away from that. Edgar and I used PFF today, but I think that we could easily use 2 other viable options. So I'll lay it up for a vote here with the 5 of us gentlemen here tonight, if that's okay. We have stick to the model, which we have seen. I believe Trevor Sikkema and Connor Rogers were actually just using that in their live draft this evening that I was trying to catch a little bit of, but I believe they were using that particular simulator. So I like that. And I like that Trevor Sikkema, a PFF casualty, is using a different platform. And I am, eager to use the same one if that's one of his choosing. And then Pro Football Sports Network also has a really good simulator that does the trades. And all these things do the trades as well. But they have their guy, Ian Cummings, is the guy that handles all their big board stuff. And I am a big fan of his evaluations. He's been on Draft Crush before. He's a very smart guy as well. And Matt Canada, their CEO, is a really good guy. So I would vote for one of those two. If you guys have any preference on either of those, should we? I see the chat here likes to stick to the model. I'm cool running that tonight. If you guys want to, we could try something different and see how it plays out for us.
I like the latter just because the guy who runs that platform, PFSN.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came on to like one of my mocks. I didn't do a lot of mocks, but I didn't like the PFF one because I wasn't paying for it, so I couldn't get through.
Yeah.
Like 2 rounds or whatever. So I started using his, and he came in and like retweeted it or whatever. He said something to me, so I was like, I'm gonna show him some love. So that's my little bid for him, But I don't care, But I do like that platform now because I felt like he's paying attention.
I like stick to the model because I've seen Trevor Sikkema. I believe he did a 3-round mock draft for Carolina, and he used that too, like his personal one. Yep. So I feel like it's something different, and we're also used to PFF where it seems like it's the same stuff over and over.
But maybe for shits and gigs, JJ, tomorrow I'll do a PFSN one and tag you in it and say, hey, on the recommendation of JJ, just because Matt's a good dude.
Just show him some love. I mean,
give him a little bit of love. Hey, look, I wrote for him. I wrote for Pro Football Network for this. That was who I wrote for this past season.
Yeah, that's why he's plugging
Why
them.
we not using them? That's
Right.
they pay you, bro.
No, they don't pay me no more.
All right, just use the other. Stick to the model. It is.
Yeah,
then.
stick to the model. Hey, stick to
Well,
the model.
model,
Come
dude.
give me a job, man. I'm open.
While we get to that mock, I do want to highlight this because I did some research on this. I tweeted this out earlier, and I do think there is something to this. You guys might laugh at me for this, but that's fine. Every single Panthers first round pick since 2023 has been featured on the mock draft reports that are on the Panthers team website. So they feature one player in those mock draft reports. They do it's 1 through 7. They do 1.0, 2.0, all the way up to 7. So there's 7 guys featured every single year. Since 2023, every first round pick they've had has been a featured player in the mock draft. The only one to break that mold was in 2022 and Icky. Icky was not featured. Every other year there was a player featured, and the list this year was the first couple were players that you might have considered earlier on, but Sonny Styles, Caleb Banks, CJ Allen. And since then it's been Casey Concepcion, Dylan Thieneman twice, and Kenyon Sadiq. So out of those 7, there is a potential one of those guys is going to be the first round pick if you're going off of the last since 2023. And the year Lee Gett was drafted, Chaw Smith Wade was a featured player on one of those. So that was 2 players in that draft they ended up taking. I do think there is something to it, so I'm just throwing it out there. There's many people that have mocked Carolina taking one of these Oregon Duck guys, and both of those guys have been featured. So I just want to throw that out there. I do think there is something to it. There might not be something to it since I called it out after this year, but it will be worth noting for tomorrow night if that happens. So I just wanted to throw it out there.
all right, so we're going with stick to the model. Everyone good with that?
Yes, sir.
I was going with the latter one, but if I'm outvoted, the
Yeah.
one Ricky
Blue
was talking
PFF.
about, yeah, I like that one. It just, I did that stick to the model before. It's decent, but I just felt like the PFSN one was more, to me, it felt more closer to realistic as it can be. That's just my personal preference, but that's just my opinion. I ain't know who was keeping tab on the vote, but that's why I prefer.
Are y'all hearing double, Kev?
Yeah, I fixed it.
Yeah, I fixed it.
Oh, no, I didn't.
No, you didn't. You didn't fix anything, Curtis.
Is that everybody?
You're echoing. Oh,
Now
I
we're
think
good.
it's fixed. Yeah, you're fixed. Whatever you just did, that worked.
I did nothing, but okay.
That's perfect. You did nothing so well at work, Kevin. Good job. Now we're at an impasse, guys. All right, the first person that comments in the chat between PFSN, stick to the model, the very first comment, that's what we're going with because we have a stalemate here and I refuse to be the changing vote. I won't do it. So I'm waiting to see what happens here. Everyone keep an eye. Stick to the model. There it is. Keaton got it. All right. Sorry, Kev. Sorry, JJ. We're going to stick to the model.
I lose everything, man.
That's okay, man. You're a winner in my book.
I appreciate you.
All right. So here's your interface. We will select the Carolina Panthers right here. We are controlling one team. 7
Is there
rounds.
a speed you can set this at?
I'm all the way up, right? Yeah, I'm all the way up on the speed.
We want to be. I don't think we should be all the way up on the first 2 rounds. Because if we want to either trade up or trade down, I think that's, unless we're not doing trades, which.
Let's not trade up.
All right, so hold on. How about normal? Let's do normal instead of fast or instant. How does that sound?
Put medium fast.
Medium?
Like high, like
Moderate?
medium high. Like medium high.
I feel like that's going to be normal is probably going to be medium high, right? Because they have, all right, so look, here's the speeds they offer. Slow, moderate, normal, fast, or instant.
Fast.
I think that
Fast.
Fast.
Can you change it in the draft? Has anyone
No.
used this platform?
once we set it, that's going to be it. Now,
Let's go
randomness.
fast, man.
You see randomness underneath it. It has realistic over here. So I think that's where we keep it, is so that there is some randomness, because that's going to happen in every NFL draft, but you don't want something too crazy, right? Oh, man, more people like PFN in there. Oh, guys.
See,
I told you.
recount.
What was that?
Okay. I'll go to Pro Football Network. You guys ready? Pro Football? Here we go. We're doing it. 7, speed, normal. Because if we go fast, so here's the deal. If you go fast, you will not see picks that you can jump up and trade ahead.
Yeah, I don't. Let's first discuss that before we start this. Are we open to trading? Do we want to do trades?
I'm open to accepting a trade.
Not initiating one.
I don't know if I want to move up. I don't think this team will move up unless it's like
they moved up last year. What do you mean?
Day
And
two.
they moved up the year before.
But I'm saying day 2. I think they would. No, we got 7.
And it's what we want to do.
We also have more
we
picks.
want to do. It's what we want to do. It's not what the team's going to do.
So let's do this then. Let's do this. Let's keep an open mind about the trading. We'll put it on the moderate speed, right? So that we'll get a pick. But if we want to look at a player, right? If there's a player we think they could potentially target, like we had the conversation about Jacob Rodriguez, that if he drops into that 40-ish range, we can go to the available linebackers and we can watch the picks happening. We can watch where the linebackers are. And if Rodriguez is there at a certain time and we want to have that conversation, we can pause it and we can have that conversation, right? If there's another player, if, a center or a wide receiver or somebody else or a cornerback starts dropping and we want to have that conversation, we'll be open to it. But anything that we do, we have to have full cooperation on a trade. It can't be 2 people say they want to make the trade. Everyone has to be on board with it or else we just stick to the picks we have. Does that sound like a fair approach, gentlemen?
That works.
I'm good. I'm with it.
Okay. Then we're going to set this up. 7, normal speed, enter the solo draft.
Sorry, we're cutting you all off here so we can see what the hell's going on. Can you pause it at like 10 just so we can kind of get a view of the draft board? All right, so we're at, can you read off like what were the picks, I guess, or who's off the board?
Man, the Giants totally wasted their picks.
Yeah, they took Falk that high. That's not happening. Come on. This is why I hate this site. But anyway, I'll get off my soapbox with it. And the Lions moved up. Is that what I see? Huh.
I'm on mute. I didn't realize I was on mute. Sorry,
Yeah,
I was
I
just
was like,
talking this entire
what's going on
time.
here?
Ruben Bain Jr., the Lions traded up from their spot at 17 to move up and grab Ruben Bain Jr. there, which puts the Chiefs now 2 spots ahead of us. And they have glaring needs at the offensive tackle, edge, corner, tight end, and wide receiver. Kenyon Sadiq could be a target there at 17 for them. Caleb Downs, the first safety off the board at 12. Spencer Fano there at 11. Makes a lot of sense. Keldrick Fault, 10. The Giants come away with Carnell Tate and Keldrick Fault. So you see a little offense-defensive play there for the 2 top 10s. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and hit resume draft. Unless there's anything you guys, I don't think there's anything that I would trade up for right now, right? No.
Nope.
Let it play out. What do you think?
I don't know. I think
dice.
the lane, if he gets a little bit closer, man, then I think he's the top corner in the draft by a long margin.
I do have him as my number 1 corner as well.
Yeah, it's just if he gets too close, bro, like I might think about it.
I love Chris Johnson too, though. I'm a big Chris.
I
Johnson
say
fan.
we wait until 16 because I think that is like a more likely trade partner. Or
Yep.
Yeah,
The Jets are
I don't
looking
see
to move.
Carolina trading with Tampa Bay. Like,
Nope.
The Jets are
don't
pretty
see
good
that
for him.
happening.
14 and 16 are the ones. So let's get there.
All
Monroe Freeling, Jordan Tyson. There goes Delane at 15.
right.
Jordan Tyson goes at 14. So the Dolphins traded up with the Ravens to grab Jordan Tyson. Now, the Dolphins have a stockpile of draft picks. They trade up to get Jordan Tyson there at 14, which now gives us the Jets, Chiefs, and Vikings in front of us with McCoy, Lomu, Dieneman, Sadiq as the top 4 players on the board with 3 spots in front of us.
Look at Big Dog at 20. Look at Big Dog lurking at 20.
And then Peter Wood sitting right there at 20. JJ's dream is still alive. Do you guys feel comfortable rolling the dice and seeing if the Dieneman drops and past the Vikings? Do you have any interest in making the trade up to 16 to see if you can acquire Dylan Dieneman?
I'm good with sitting.
Let's get Edgar in here quick. Hold on here, because
Where'd Edgar go?
There we go. I'm of the proponent of potentially trading up because I don't think he's going to be there. And I really think Thieneman is going to change this defense drastically. The impact he'll have.
Stoops is in
So
the second.
I am for trading up, and I'll just let you guys. We can kind of work our way down and just see. I don't know where Edgar is at with this board since he was having some issues. But Edgar, if you want to take a look at kind of where the board has fallen, you can do so, and make sure you're unmuted.
Yeah. All right. So we've got the big news here was Ruben Bain, the trade up for the Lions. They traded up to 9 to grab Ruben Bain to pair on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. Jordan Tyson, the Dolphins moved up to 14 to snag him. So we have the Jets, the Chiefs, and the Vikings sitting in front of us with Jermod McCoy, Caleb Lomu, Dylan Thieneman, Kenyon Sadiq as the top 3 players still, or top 4 players on the board.
Still there.
Amar Cooper still there. Casey Concepcion is still there. I think that if it were me and if I'm the Carolina Panthers, I know how much I think they want Dylan Thieneman, but for the sake of not making a trade, I'm okay sitting here and seeing if it happens. But if Thieneman goes at 18, I'm going to feel ick. But you know what? I think that we kind of sit here and we let it go.
If he goes at 18,
here's the comment.
I still got wide receivers that I can pick.
That's right. And all day threes and TDs says Albert Breer just released his latest intel, and he said Thieneman is either going to go 18, 19, or 20. So I mean, he's right here. This is the range, right? This is what we're talking about. Keaton is saying, nah, just trade it, go for it.
I think the Vikings need defensive line more than they need a safety. And
where's the defensive lineman though that they take?
It's just weird that no one has moved off of that for the Vikings, and that it just seems so obvious that it's not going to be that the draft.
Because Harrison's.
No, and I understand that, but there's no one going off of that. I haven't seen one fucking person go off of that.
Yeah.
Seriously. And it almost seems like with Carolina, everyone was like Jalen Walker. And then boom, they come out and get a wide receiver. It's just odd to me that no one other has strayed from that at all for them.
Panther Dog asks, is Lomu any good? He is my offensive tackle 3 in this class, Panther Dog. I am a big fan of Caleb Lomu. He was my offensive tackle 2 before I moved Francis Mauanoa back into tackle, just because I don't feel like it's fair for me to project him into a different position necessarily than what he's played. I think he's going to get the shot to stick on the right side as an offensive tackle, but I do like Caleb Lomu a good bit. So we let it ride, boys.
All right, let's take a vote. Cav, you want to ride it?
Yep.
All right, Edgar? Let it ride. Edgar?
Yep, sure, let's do it.
JJ?
I'm not giving up anything. Let it ride.
Okay,
all right,
here we go.
That's what we're doing.
Here we go. Let it ride.
We're making a mistake. I'm putting that on the record.
KC is gone. Kenyon Sadiq is gone. Jamal McCoy.
He's there.
So he's sitting right there at us. Boom.
Same conversation. Grab it.
All right, I'll shut up.
All right, so are we done here, boys? We know who we want. We taking Dylan Thieneman right now. Are we all good with it?
Yes.
Anybody offering us a trade?
Right.
Anybody offering us anything?
I think the Bengals, I saw something. They had 4 picks, but I'm not.
Trade offer. Bengals 41-72, future second, future third. I'm not interested in the futures because this is a mock draft for us. And then a 30 and a future second. None of those move me.
They got to be this year.
Yeah, none of those move me. I'm running away with Dylan Thieneman right now.
100%.
If this is
Let's go.
Running the card.
It's a no-brainer.
Great energy.
All right, let's do it.
Hold on.
Okay. Hold on.
Y'all getting cold feet. I mean, we're at the altar and you guys are backing out already.
Hey, I just want to make sure. I want to make sure my head coach is good, and that he really don't have to have Casey Concepcion.
He already went to the Jets.
Gone.
I didn't
gone.
see it. If he's gone,
Omar Cooper is there.
Thieneman is the pick.
Thieneman's a pick.
Unless y'all want Peter Woods. Is Peter Woods?
No.
No, I'm not taking that
All
Clemson
right.
dude. Get the hell out of here.
Dylan Thieneman. Heck yeah. Drafting him. There you go. Caleb Lomu goes to the Eagles.
Can we pause it after the first round just to kind of see where?
Yeah. Omar Cooper, 25 to the, and then there's Peter Woods. I'll pause it right here just so that JJ can get a good look at Peter Woods playing with Caleb Williams over there in Chicago.
Of course, he goes to where the rest of our picks are.
Hey, Omar Cooper went to your second team or your first team in the Niners.
And then Christian Miller, that's a guy, honestly, that's Christian Miller, man. I think that he gets lost in some of this. That's my defensive tackle one. I love Christian Miller. I think he's going to be a heck of a pro football player. The Chiefs, in their move back there, the Chiefs acquire Kenyon Sadiq at 17, which is a very Chiefsy pick right there, honestly. And then Colton Hood is their second pick that they get at pick 29. Caden Proctor just went to the Ravens. CJ Allen and then D'Angelo Pons finishing out round 1 for the Seattle Seahawks. And the very first pick of round 2, after I paused it, is Jacob Rodriguez.
Shame!
So he's off the board.
Undo that pick right now.
I won't undo a single thing. I won't ever undo a pick. Never. All right. So let's keep going here. Malachi Lawrence, Avian Terrell, Brandon Cease. I'm going to pause it at 40. Oh, 40, Sam Hecht. You son of a bee sting. That hurts. I like Sam Hecht, and that was who I like to target later.
I saw many having him as a 3rd round pick.
40 is rich, man. But you know what? We saw Jackson Powers Johnson, right? Like the year prior, he went in the beginning of round 2. That's a guy that I think is gaining some steam, Sam Hecht. That's a quality football player. He comes in as a starter right away as a center. You can check this out in the Carolina Draft Guide. Guys, do you know how many sacks Sam Hecht surrendered in his career in college at Kansas State?
Zero.
Wasn't it 2 altogether?
Zero altogether.
I saw that earlier today.
Okay, I thought the last 2 years it was 0. My bad.
No, I think that it was 0 his entire career that he was accounted or attributed to. Okay. Now, again, you could probably watch that film if you watch all of his years. You could say what now?
I don't know about that. EMW's all the way down here still.
EMW, I think, is going to be a 2nd round pick. I'm telling you, man, I don't think that's a 1st round player. I've got him as my safety 5 in the Carolina Draft Guide. I'm not nearly as high on him. I think that he's got some stiffness. I think that he is going to be a close in the box slot type defender, which is going to be valuable for some teams. But man, I just don't see the sure thing knockout that everyone else does. And that's not a knock on him, but I think the 2nd round is a really safe
Can we look at
good
tight
place.
ends, and can we also look at linebackers?
Well, do we want to let this go for a second? Because it's not our pick yet.
Well, just to see who's available if we want to trade up.
Well, I don't think you trade up for a tight end. You got Oscar Delp there at 59, Eli Stover 77, Max Clare 86. These are their rankings.
That's the guy right there, Max Clare.
I love Max Clare, and they're showing interest in him late, which is very Panthery. That ends up being a player that they like. You still have Max Ihanakor right here. That is a right tackle. A very big time athlete, still very raw technique wise. His hand usage is very inconsistent, but the ceiling for Max is extremely high. We've met with him as well, so that's a player that if he continues to drop, I think they would have some serious interest. Blake Miller is still on the board. Those are your 2 premier offensive tackles right there.
Hey, Ricky. Oh,
yes, sir.
What about linebackers?
I was going to say real quick, Ricky, number 76, the tackle out of, what was that, Texas A&M, the one that was just up?
Demetrius Crownover.
Yeah, I like him in round 3 for us. I think that he is the perfect guy to sit behind Taylor Moton, work some, swing tackle or when we go heavy, because that's a pretty big boy. I see him. He reminds me of a healthy Otah. For us old heads, remember who Jeff Otah was?
Oh, yeah.
Like
at Pittsburgh, man. At Pittsburgh, Jeff Otah was a different kind of guy, though, man. That was a real good ball player.
He was nasty to the T. You hear me? I mean, that was spitting snots on a one-step drop. Like, he did not care. If you was in front of him.
What's really fun, Kev, about Demetrius Crownover is, he was a tight end recruit. So he's got the athleticism. He's got the feet. Now, his feet are inconsistent. The upper body and lower body. He's still learning that position too, though, right? But his upper and lower are still a little bit disconnected at times. But he's got that reach that you can't teach, right? That's what they always talk about, the 35-inch levers. He's a physical player. He definitely works in a zone system, especially being able to move a little bit and getting him out into space on some of those different combination blocks and stuff like that. So I agree with you that that's somebody they could look at in that range. I'm going to go ahead and start this thing back up because
hold on, though. I want to.
we got Anthony
something.
Hill Jr.
I know, but I want to mention something because there are like 4 teams right now in front of us that have a linebacker need. If we want to consider linebacker, I think it's worth talking about. If we want to trade up, if we don't, we can move on. That's cool. But I'm just saying there are like 4 teams coming up here that all have a linebacker need.
I don't think that any of them that are sitting there I would trade up for. I think that if Josiah Trotter drops in your lap, we have that conversation. Galladay, I like Galladay, but I'm not trading up to get him. If you could get him at 51, I think that it might be fun, but trading up? Trading up, you know what? The only thing I saw that would entice me at trading up is Chris Johnson. You want to talk about a perfect fit into a cover 3 defense? Chris Johnson is a baller, and that gives you some flexibility with Mike Jackson in the future that if he's only here for this last year, Chris Johnson comes in and he can give you some nickel play right now. He can play on the outside. If JC Horn has injuries, I'm not saying there's not a significant drop-off. JC Horn is a ball player. But Chris Johnson, man, this dude is the real deal. This is my cornerback, too. I think that he is a stud. Edgar, I know that you're a Chris Johnson fan as well, aren't you?
Yeah, like no, JJ's a fan too. Like he talked about like how come there's not much hype on him, and I know he plays for not a major program, but he's a stud.
Well, I've been listening to a lot of draft pods on the way to work in the morning, and a lot of guys are high on him. I didn't know him because of the program he plays for, and I tell people all the time I don't watch a lot of West Coast football on Saturdays, but I mean, he's 6'3", 6'4",
6'2", yeah.
Oh, he's a 6'2", okay.
He's 6'2", yeah.
I knew he's long, and I mean, and from what I saw, he makes good plays on the ball. He has good instincts. So I mean, I see what you see in him, but like I said, I don't try to speak or hype people that I didn't watch in real time. So I just didn't want to like flood the timeline with him. Yeah, I do like him.
The only other name that I'll mention right here is Keelan Rutledge. He's ranked 53 on this big board. Keelan Rutledge for me is a favorite. I think that he's a tremendous interior offensive lineman that is going to have some guard center versatility. And you think that if they liked Cade Mays, I talked about this earlier on the show with Edgar. If Carolina enjoyed Cade Mays, they have got to have serious interest in a guy like Keelan Rutledge because he's a hyper version of Cade Mays, in my opinion. He's a more physical run blocker than Cade was, but he is a very sound pass protector as well. And I do think that he could stick at the fulcrum playing center in the NFL if they wanted him to. And I think he would give Luke Fortner some serious competition. So if he makes it to 51, I think that's a player that I would like to talk about if you guys are okay with having that discussion. But for the time being, I think we let this thing run to 51. I don't see anyone that's making me give up pick 83 or anything like that.
Let me before you go, Ricky, go back to offensive tackle again.
Okay. Blake Miller and Maxie Hanacor.
I know we had a big contingent at Clemson, right?
Mm-hmm. And Joe Gilbert was running the drills for Clemson.
Were they there for Blake Miller?
They were. They also put him in left tackle drills.
Yeah. He was running. Yeah, exactly. He was running the offensive line drills. So I definitely think they have some interest in that.
I mean, if I was to make a play here, when I look at where he's ranked at as a player, if I was going to trade up for anybody, it would probably be Blake Miller from this list, just based on his position.
He's got the measurables.
He got the measurables. I think most people feel like he's going to go in the first round.
57 starts.
Where do you have him in your rankings?
Blake Miller, I believe, was my tackle 6, and he had a second round grade. To be fair though, I only had I had Fano was my tackle 1. I had Mawanoa as my tackle 2. I had Caleb Lomu as 3, and 4. Who did I have 4? Now I can't think. Hold on. Let me go to the guide. The good part is you can just pull up the Carolina draft guide at any minute.
Yeah, you had Freeling 4.
Freeling 4, Proctor 5. And I believe that was all of the first round draft grades that I had were those 5. And then I had a gaggle of second round guys.
If I was going to trade up, it'd be for tackle, but because one of those guys slipped like Miller or Ian Hecker or whatever his name is, Max. But other than one of those two, I'll probably just let it ride and see what we get at 51.
You guys cool with that, letting it ride, or do you want to try to see what it would take to move up?
Hey, spoiler alert! JJ trying to end the drought of Clemson not being drafted by the Panthers.
Every season, every
Hey, but-
season. I'm going
Jay-
hard, man. Y'all see me on that sideline every year. How can I go to Clemson?
JJ,
every year?
I got another player that I think they could break that streak with later, though. A defensive
Capehart?
lineman. I think that. No,
I think I know what you're talking about too,
DeMonte
Ricky.
Capehart. Yeah, DeMonte
Oh, yeah.
Capehart, man. I
Give
think
me
that's a guy
Capehart
we can
later,
look
and
at.
I'll stand down for now.
Okay,
I'm just trying to
all
make
right.
it happen. though.
All right,
Every
well, let's
round
let it
brings something
ride.
but a Clemson player.
I'm gonna go a couple picks here. There goes Blake Miller, he's gone. There goes Chris Johnson, he's gone. Antonio Williams, Ty Simpson, Caleb Banks.
Simpson, the Jets.
There
That's
goes
a
Maxie
good pick.
Hanacor. Okay, so all of the guys that you guys would want to trade up for is gone. There goes
The
EMW.
Ravens would get
Chris
Banks.
Yeah, Caleb Banks is another guy that I do think is very interesting to the Carolina Panthers. I have some concerns about consistency, not even just the durability element with him. He's 23. He'll be 24 towards the tail end of the season, I believe. And he never dominated consistently. His pad level is one of the more consistent things about him because it's consistently high. And that comes with the natural frame, right? But I think that it is a true limitation that I worry about how often you're going to be able to count on him to win every rep in just like doing the regular part of his job and not the outstanding, right? As a pass rusher, I do think that he is head and shoulders above as an interior pass rusher with his tools and his immediate get off the line. I mean, he's got some
Very
movement
elite.
to it. It's elite, man. His movement off the line of scrimmage is wild, man. I was telling Edgar, it reminded me of the Georgia tackle that plays for the Philadelphia Eagles now. The way that he can get off. He gets talked about as Chris Jones a lot. Yeah, Carter. Just the way that he gets off the ball, it is wild how quickly he can move for a guy his size, man.
He disrupts blocking schemes like crazy. Like when teams try to do the pull and pin, he eats that alive.
Yep. Well, he's got functional length.
He does the stuff that don't show up in stats for defensive linemen that absolutely impact the game. When you're able to knock a tackle or guard off, and that linebacker can swoop in and make the tackle for loss, it goes to the linebacker, but it's because a 330-pound guard got knocked on his ass by Banks.
Yeah.
He's one of those type of guys.
Here is your big board. Here is the all that you have left here. Okay, guys. So we're at our pick now at pick 51. The first thing we'll look at is trade offers. You got Dallas offering 92, 112, and a future second for 51 and 159. I'm not going to do that. That doesn't appeal to me. I don't know about y'all. The future second is probably appealing from like a actual general manager standpoint, right? But you lose your current second. I would like to get a late second or something like that to recoup.
Yeah.
But looking at this available list, Lee Hunter here as the defensive tackle for Texas Tech.
Interesting.
I do think that he would interest them a little bit. I think he's a bit top heavy. I think he plays like that. You talk about pad level again, that shows up with Lee, but he is a dominant interior space eater. Has a little bit more pass rush than I think he's given credit for, but I'm not sure that it would be a second round type of move for me. AJ Halsey's probably not as interesting to them anymore after taking Dylan Thieneman. Chris Brazzell we met with. This is a speedster out of Tennessee. You got to have that caveat of is Tennessee's system. Is this another one of those, Jalen Hyatt type of speedsters that can play on the right side, take the top off, but does he offer anything else? I'll give you this, though. His Tulane tape is chock full of different routes. He had 2 touchdowns in Tulane that were whip routes in the red zone that were absolutely devastating. For a guy his size with that hip sinkage, it is impressive what he's able to do. So I think that he is a player that does intrigue me a little bit.
Yeah, he looked good in real time, and I've seen a recent report about him having the same type of ability as Tyson, but he has character concerns.
And he does not believe in blocking. Like there are reps literally that when you see if it is a run play, Chris Brazzell will let the defense know that within his first step because he is literally walking off the snap. Like he does not get involved often in that regard. And I think that would rub them the wrong way a little bit.
They won't draft him then.
I don't think so either. Now you get down here into a little bit further. Trey Stooks is a guy that everybody loves as a nickel. Now the question is, do they view him more as a safety or do they view him as a nickel, and would they invest double into the secondary and shore up with Thieneman and Trey Stooks? You also have Anthony Hill Jr. right there, your linebacker, and Keelan Rutledge are right there. I also think you have to account for the tight end position here. I know that there are going to be discrepancies in opinions, but Oscar Delp is there, right? We have met with Oscar Delp. The reports are that we are high on Oscar Delp. Eli Stowers also is a move tight end. If you talk about wanting a true receiving threat, he has all of the physical tools that you would want. He has the athleticism, blew the roof off of the combine out there in Indianapolis. Max Clare is still my guy, and I think that there is some real smoke behind Max Clare in the Carolina Panthers. That would not surprise me at all if Max Clare was their pick at 51 if he is there, and I think that I could see that being true. As far as offensive tackles, I don't think there's a guy at 51 here, personally. I wouldn't invest in any of these guys at 51. I think I would wait until the third round. You get a look at a guy like Travis Burke that they've met with. You get a look at Demetrius Crownover that we just talked about. Austin Barber, Drew Bowery even, I think are true zone-type players that would also work. Center, you still have Connor Lew, the center out of Auburn that has years of experience. He has a torn ACL that he's coming off of. That's going to be a big concern. But his tape against the top talent in the SEC is legitimate. It is legitimate, and he has the size that they would crave. I would lean Keelan Rutledge over Connor Lew because of the versatility and because he's not coming off the injury right now. So do you guys have any position or player that you want to discuss here?
Well, let me ask you this.
Obviously.
Anthony Hill Jr.
Yeah, he just
That's
one of my
JJ's
favorites.
guy.
Yeah, that's my guy. So I'm not going to act like
JJ's guy.
And hey, they were at the Texas Pro Day, right?
you
They
know
were
that
sitting there hanging out with them.
I still remember Jordan Reed last season tweeting, Panthers fan,
Yeah.
get to know Anthony Hill or something to that effect.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was when Bryson's guy went down with the injury before the season.
Josie Jewell.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
And
I'm
I don't move off of guys. You know what I'm saying? I liked them last
Yeah.
year. I know people got some skepticism about who he is as an actual player. I remember somebody saying that he didn't look like he was in all that great of shape,
Mhm. Yep.
at his pro day or whatever. But I think he's a baller, man. Every time I watch Texas play, he was making plays.
He's a big time athlete.
Yeah.
Big time athlete.
If you put him in our defense, I think our defense is pretty close to complete.
Well, and the fun thing too is that we have Devin Lloyd in that second level now. That is a really big thing to remember because you put another really talented player. We also don't know what does Trevin Wallace do though next to a guy like Devin Lloyd. Does Trevin Wallace make a step? At the beginning of the season, I thought Trevin looked much more confident and playing smarter, but he tailed off before injury as well.
Trevin Wallace should be looked at like we look at Xavier Leggett on offense.
Yeah. I mean, they're both talented players, but are you saying that in a matter of they should both be given another year?
I'm not. I mean, as much as I like Leggett or the prospect of Leggett over the first two seasons, I don't give people that much time to figure it out. And maybe this is the year he figures it out. But like,
And I want to have that conversation too
Yeah,
about League.
I don't.
Because
I think we're beyond that, right? And so, I mean, if he plays well, then great. That's just gravy for us. But like, I don't want to go into the season depending on him. And that's the same way I feel about Trevin Wallace. Like, I don't want to go into the third season depending on him to make this big leap, because the thing about linebackers is that it doesn't take them 3 seasons to make an impact that you can trust. Like, look around the league. Like, most teams are getting value from their linebacker drafts, even undrafted guys, by year 2 at least, right? We're going into year 3 with Trevin Wallace, and you really don't know what you will get with him or from him. Yeah. Matter of fact, it felt like Shirless or whoever it was playing linebacker.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, we're an injury away from Shirless, Bam Martin Scott starting a fucking game. Like, that's the reality of it, guys.
And you're sitting there looking at
you need
Anthony
to look
Hill
long
right
and fucking
there.
hard at linebacker.
And you're looking at Anthony Hill right there.
And him Patsy DeFade King brings up Caleb Elam's Orr, who the Carolina Panthers have had extensive interest in as well, the TCU off-ball backer that also hits a lot of their thresholds that they've met with. They like a good deal. There's been a lot of smoke around that. I would throw out a guy named Keyshawn Elliott, the Arizona State linebacker as well, that I think also fits that play style that they would like a whole lot. Experienced guy, started over at New Mexico State, moved over to Arizona State, really productive player, instinctual player, has some chops in coverage, but can also be used as a blitzer in the way that Anthony Hill Jr. does. I'm not opposed to Anthony Hill Jr. though here. I like the value at this point. I didn't love Anthony Hill Jr. when the talk was taking him at 19. And that was a conversation that JJ and I have had multiple times on the Tackle Tuesday spaces, where I do not think this is a bad pick if you take Anthony Hill Jr. here at this pick. The only other players, though, that I would throw up personally would be the Keelan Rutledge and a tight end here, because I do think that going safety in round 1, they still have an interest in doing something to this offense and investing a good pick into this offense. If it's a weapon, I think the tight end is where you go here in round 2. I don't see a receiver unless it's Brazil. Unless it's Brazil, I think that there could be real interest there with that. I like Skylar Bell a good bit, but I'm not sure where he fits with them. I think that when you look at centers, we've seen Sam Hecht go off the board. Connor Lew would be the next one up in this ranking, but Keelan Rutledge is the guy that could be that versatile piece that also offers a significant backup player to Robert Hunt or Damian Lewis. And Robert Hunt has been off the field as much as on the field in his last 17 games. So you have to take that into account, and they're going to want to get cheaper on that unit because that's a $100 million interior that didn't play 20 games together. You know what I mean?
Can I add something quickly here?
Yeah.
Do you guys think if Carolina doesn't go wide receiver in round 1, they shouldn't touch it much in this draft? Because I've seen that question brought up. And then to add to that, are you comfortable going into the season with Tedero McMillan, Rookie of the Year, Jalen Coker, who hasn't played a full season, and Xavier Legette, who's still trying to figure out his footing in the NFL, as your weapons, and a tight end room that hasn't surpassed 400 receiving yards in a season? Is that viable when you're trying to decide the biggest decision in your franchise in extending Bryce Young to a massive contract?
I mean, in my opinion, I think that there's still answers in the draft that will be there on in round 3 and maybe even round 4.
Yeah.
Depending on how the draft falls. But because I think the type of player we need isn't that desirable high in this particular draft. But I think there are like at least 2 guys, and one in particular that's been getting a lot of hype, in the last couple of days as a fit for the Panthers, that I think we could get at 83.
If he's Deion Burks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Branch, right? But I know that I'm biased, with Branch. I would pick him as well. But between those 2 guys, they're not KC Concepcion, but they give you, I think, at least 75 to 80% of what you would get from Concepcion.
Edgar, can I swing this to you real quick? Because you talked about this on the show in this discussion about Deion Burks and potentially Zachariah Branch, even Brendan Thompson. The interest that they show in a guy like Deion Burks, who's an undersized player but is an obvious speed element and a yak generator, it lends that they could be interested in those different players but the same archetype. And that's a player that, as JJ talks about, could be available in round 3, maybe even round 4. And so is the value here to go with that either interior offensive lineman or linebacker that maybe the drop-off in those positions is greater and more significant than going with the wide receiver at this point? Tight end, Katie says, hey, give me Njoku after the draft. I do think that David Njoku is one of those players that is sitting there and waiting for the draft to unfold to find out which teams still have openings for roles that he could fit. And we've explored that. We've had talks and seeing where he's at in his contract situation and seeing what he might have interest. So do you think that this is a interior lineman linebacker situation, or would you go differently, Edgar?
Like to Curtis's question, like I follow the visits a lot. Of all the positions that they've brought in, wide receiver was the most visited position. And so I forgot if I told you, Ricky, and I've told Thomas, threes and TDs. I was like, I would be shocked. I don't want to be surprised because anything can happen in the draft, but I would be surprised if they don't draft a wide receiver in this class because they did so much work. Ultimately, they could do a lot of work and realize we don't like any of these wide receivers. So it doesn't mean if you bring in a visit, they're going to. But last year they brought in 10 edges, right? And they drafted 2. Like there's an obvious need there. I forgot if it was Dan Morgan who said it, but one thing that was intriguing to me was he was saying like, I'm gonna go with, Tederick Millen was an option for us because there's some edges that we like later on, right? And so that they brought Dion Burks in for a visit tells me that, like you said, Ricky, like that archetype is on the table. Not to say they'll get one, not to say that they like Dion Burks, but like the Zachariah Branches, the Brendan Thompsons, these undersized, under 6 foot, 180-pound wide receivers are on the table. And absolutely, there could be available. Like there's never a run on these small wide receivers. Like you can get one. We saw the Seattle Seahawks take one in round 2. We saw the Rams take one in round 2. So there could be people who find a draft crush in this round. I would, gosh, I trust whatever the Panthers want to do at wide receiver because they have an offensive staff that has so many wide receivers. Me personally, just like from a Brent Tilla standpoint, it would be hard to say like I want to go safety linebacker or safety interior offensive lineman because like you're investing a lot in a non-premium position. And it's like, dude, like there's some really good impact players here. And I'm a trenches guy, so I lean towards Lee Hunter. I don't know if they would do that. I don't know if he's available at this time, but like that stands out to me because like they lost Ashawn Robinson. Mike K has been saying this, like I feel like it's like an alarm that no one's listening. It's like you lost Ashawn Robinson and people took him for granted. Like people didn't think like this is like a big boy who just produced and was available every week. And everyone took him for granted because he didn't make any bad plays. He didn't like make so many splash plays. I'm not saying that it has to be Lee Hunter. I know you love Big Citrus, Ricky. I know you love Dominique Orange, so that would be a fun pick as well.
Panthers like him too.
But like you said, like you can get a tight end. Tight end is deep in this class. I don't know. Linebacker is kind of deep in this class in the sense that like there's a few of them that could be like starter level and can play special teams. But that's where I'm leaning. But like I'm not strong convicted in this area. But if you say, hey Edgar, what do you want to do? Like I would always lean. I'm like Kev. Like I lean trenches all the time.
First shout out Jared. Jared said he left for 20 minutes and we're still on pick 51. Hey Jared, here's the fun part. Here's the fun part. We got through pick 19 in like 10 seconds. We nailed it. We've been on pick 51 for the entirety of that break. Kev,
that's because I won't pick Anthony Hill.
Look. I'm on board. My 2 picks that I would throw out here personally is probably Keelan Rutledge or Anthony Hill Jr. I think that's the value. Kev, you're a trenches guy. Can I get your input here on, do you think that we need to invest one of these premium picks here at whether it's a second round or third round on the interior offensive line?
Here at the end, let's see. Offensive line, interior.
Ricky, the guys that are available and stuff.
Yeah. I'll go. Let's look at. So this is the specific centers. You're looking at Connor Liu, Parker Brailsford. Brian Parker is the guy that played tackle for Duke, but was a center recruit. Has played inside as well. Jager Burton, the Kentucky guys, played guard and center. And then you look at the guards, and you have Keelan Rutledge. You got Jennings Dunker that could possibly give you a little bit of right tackle, guard flexibility. Fabechi Nwewu out of Oklahoma is another guy that I know Edgar is high on that also took some snaps late in the year at Oklahoma at center, but is a guard by trade. So those are what you're looking at there, Kev, if you wanted to talk about the offensive interior.
Ricky.
Yeah.
Let me ask a question.
Hold on. Let Kev go. Kev hasn't gone. Let Kev go, and then you can answer your question or ask your question.
Rick, to answer you, if interior was to move, I'm with you. I'm definitely with Rutledge out of Georgia Tech. Just think of, like you said, Cade Mays with the Hemi.
Like that.
With a nice upgrade. That's basically, what you're looking at here in that regards. But a couple of things that you guys have mentioned, real quickly, just wanted to get your feedback on. Tederick McMillan had said that Dan Morgan called him in and asked him about his teammate back in Arizona, Stoops. And I was wondering, is that just a general manager just doing his thing? Could it be something possibly worth taking there? Because when you look at it, it starts off 6-year senior. That's going to turn a lot of people off. Oh, he's too old already, and things like that. But again, I'm a guy that when you ain't played in 3 months, the tape still the tape. Post injury, this guy was still producing consistently, highly every week, and he, since we plays cover 3 a majority of the time zone heavy, he's definitely an ideal fit. So I was just wondering if there may be any weight to Morgan asking McMillan about his former teammate. That question. And then for Edgar, I'm sorry, for Edgar, Rick, you can chime in too. If you go back to linebackers real quick.
Yep.
I got y'all was talking about position flexibility. Kyle Lewis out of Pittsburgh. He is someone that I think is another chess piece player. I'm thinking him and Devin Lloyd on third downs as linebackers, but he can also play the nickel as well, and a little bit of safety. So you're talking about nickel, safety, linebacker type player that you can get on day 3 that you can put in spot rotations. And I was just wondering if he, crossed you guys' study, because he was someone that stood out a lot to me as far as like having versatile, defenders that you never know when he's on the field where he's going to line up, So those were my 2 things. Anything about the Stoops conversation by Morgan with McMillan and this guy Lewis?
Edgar, you want to answer that first?
Yeah, I love Kyle Lewis. He's one of my draft crushes. Ricky was one of the first people who turned me on to like Senior Bowl reps and what to look for. And he was saying like there are some drills where like you are at a disadvantage. And so if you're a corner, you're a linebacker, and you have to do coverage in a Senior Bowl drill, like a wide receiver can do whatever they want, a tight end can do whatever they want, and you are at a disadvantage as a coverage person. And Kyle Lewis like just shut everything down. He is a little undersized, so he's kind of like not a linebacker. He's kind of too big to be a nickel. And so it'd have to be something that Evero and the Panthers are comfortable with. But just as a flat out player, like Kyle Lewis, I love Kyle Lewis. I just don't know if the Panthers feel like he would fit their thresholds or fit as a chess piece.
But we got to remember,
piece in the
guys,
defense.
we're doing what we want to do. This isn't this is our draft. So like we gotta keep that in consideration. Same with the chat. I know you guys are like, well, this is what we're doing. I don't care what Dan Morgan's going to do. We're doing what we want to do right now. So just keep that in mind.
Well, give me if it's what I want to do.
Well, it's what we all want to do, not just you, Dan.
Yeah.
All right, so JJ,
What
JJ's on Anthony Hill. Let's make a vote.
all right, JJ's Anthony Hill, right? JJ, that's what
but Ricky, I want to ask you this question. I think it was like, what happens if somebody goes down, right? Like we do have Devin Lloyd, and we invested heavily into that in free agency, and he's gonna be a stud, but he plays a very violent position, right? And you talk about what happens if Trevin Wallace has to go out. What happens if Devin Lloyd has to miss time?
Yeah, and it's Claude and Trevin playing.
Who wears the green dot?
Yeah. No, it's a good point. Is Anthony Hill, though, as a rookie, is he wearing the green dot? Or you're still going to end up having Trevin or Claude, whoever you end up saying you're going to pair with him. I still think that they're going to be the communicator. I still think they're going to be the field general. But what Anthony Hill will give you is from a body type, from a skill set, he gives you a lot more of what Devin Lloyd does. Like you can replicate a lot more of that game plan, I think, with a body like Anthony Hill Jr. I also think that Anthony Hill Jr., there is true interest with Dan Morgan and Anthony Hill Jr., and I get why. The tools are there. He's a young player. He's a running back. Like the athleticism is real. It's a instinctual thing for me with Anthony Hill Jr., and that is the only part that gives me pause with him. But what are they asking him to do at Texas? And that is a really difficult part of evaluation is what is he asked to do, and then what does he do, right? And so Anthony Hill Jr. in the NFL, if he is playing next to Devin Lloyd, and let's do best case scenario where everyone is healthy, that's a formidable pair, in my opinion. And I think that Anthony Hill learns a ton from Devin Lloyd, who also struggled very much in the early part of his career with the instinctual part. That is something that he developed later into his career. So could he help usher in a player like that? Not necessarily by like teaching him the ropes, but by watching him play. A lot of times people think that like mentoring in the NFL is like literally taking them under their wing and like having dinner at their house every night and becoming best pals. That's not necessarily true. A lot of the ways that you learn the best traits that you're going to learn as a professional at the next level is watching guys who do it at a high level and they get paid that money and they take their craft very seriously. And so getting to see Devin Lloyd right now, I think is a big piece for any linebacker that comes into that position room. I like Anthony Hill Jr. here. I don't have a problem taking him as that pick. If that is a pick that everyone could be on board with, I'm cool making that selection.
It would be him or Stoops. I mean, to Kevin's point.
Can I chime in with the way the board is? There's a ton of linebackers left. which I didn't think was going to be at this pick. And Katie brought this up, and it's considerate, and JJ just mentioned it, Stooks. The nickel position is, I would think all of us agree on this, is pretty vital in this defense.
Critical. Yep.
Do Carolina lock up, or do we lock up Thieneman in round 1 and then go get the nickel, and this defense is rocking and rolling to start this lockdown? And
like
then
that
we also got to take into consideration Mike Jackson and his contract. Are they going to want to pay him this massive contract after this season?
Well, I mean, I don't think any of these guys really replace a Mike Jackson, but it does give you
but it gives you more depth in that room.
Pieces. It gives you chess pieces.
Yeah.
In the middle of Evero's defense, with having Merrick, Thieneman, and a Stooks, and you can really interchange Stooks and Thieneman in terms of like the looks you give, because I think Thieneman can play some nickel too.
And I think you could even use Stooks and Trayvon Merrick interchangeably. I think that when you talk about wanting to disguise and do post-snap rotations, I think that's what a guy like Stooks offers you as well. So I think that that's an intriguing position here. All right. Are we on board with Stooks then?
I'm on board with either one of those guys, man, because right now with the defense that y'all are building me, I'm a step closer, to that elite unit.
Kevin Edgar, what say you about Stooks here?
Go ahead, Edgar.
Edgar ain't sure. You can see it.
No, in short, I love Stooks is a draft crush of mine. I've tweeted about him so many times. It's just like, ooh, man, Thieneman and Stooks. But like Stooks in a vacuum, I love Stooks.
Okay.
Yeah, and someone that we ain't mentioning when we're talking about the secondary that's coming back, Thornton. Dog. Atomic dog. I mean, he was playing nickel. He was playing outside. So I think
he was holding his own outside too. Let's not forget some of those games.
So if we go ahead and take Stooks, and then with Thornton return and we'll let Mike Jackson play out however Mike Jackson plays, we have made this secondary that was once god awful into probably the strength of the defense. And we decide to go Stooks.
And that is the way they play from the back forward, right? They want to solidify that secondary, and then they have the defensive front. And so I think that the Corey Thornton is an interesting part of this, because I think that they would love to have him play outside. I think that his usage in the nickel was out of a necessity of what we had personnel-wise last season. But if he can be the contingency plan for Mike Jack, and then you still have Stooks to lock down that nickel defender, and you add Dylan Thieneman and Trayvon Merrick, that is a very formidable secondary. I like that a lot. And you talk about creating turnovers. Stooks helps with that a lot, man.
And shout out to that Corey dude on Twitter that be breaking out Evero's schemes. Like, I have learned so much as far as like the intimate details beyond just cover 1, cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. Like whoever, y'all know who I'm talking about, the Corey dude, right?
Cody Alexander.
I'm sorry, Cody. Him.
Cody
Oh my God.
Quarters,
I'm following all of his stuff now. That dude is just
he's tremendous.
Chef's kiss.
I got to do a spot with him. When they were doing the field vision stuff. They had me on their podcast and got to talk with.
All right, gentlemen, it's 11 o'clock.
Let's go with Stooks.
Let's go Stooks.
Let's go with Stooks. Go get Gold Day. On day 3. In round 3.
Okay,
we good.
And there's Anthony Hill Jr. goes there to the Steelers.
Of
we're
course.
gonna let this play out because I do think that we can look at defensive line. We can look at interior. Keelan Rutledge goes to
the Rams.
Max Player, Eli Stowers finish out the second round. Zachariah Branch there. Kamari Ramsey is another guy I think the Panthers are going to have serious interest in as far as a nickel safety prospect. Lee Hunter at 74. Malik Muhammad is another corner I like a lot for Texas and that we've expressed interest in. Gallday is gone. Gallday went to
Vikings.
Yep.
Got my dude.
Reject.
All right. None of those picks do anything.
Nope.
Gallday went to the Buccaneers. So we get to face Jake Gallday. All right, let's take a look at linebacker real quick. You got Caleb Elam's or Kyle Lewis is still there. And then Keyshawn Elliott is still the guy, though, that I think is wildly undervalued here on this list. I think that he's going to go higher than that, Keyshawn Elliott.
Hey, the day 3 scale is going to
Delp.
Oscar Delp sitting right there.
Delp.
Center's there too, though. I like
Connor Lew is still there. You got Skylar Bell, Bryce Lance, Brendan Thompson. Deion Burks is still down there. Deion Burks you might be able to get later too, though. I think
I like
as much as
Stribling.
people,
I like
as much
Stribling
as,
too. I like
Stribling is interesting. Yeah. I wonder about Burks. Where is he going to really go? I'm not positive that Burks is a day 2 guy just because of the size and stuff like that. I do think that he could be one of those guys that falls to round 4 and goes early in the round 4 range. But Delp is really interesting here because of how much they like him, how much he could open up some things on the tight end.
But how much do you like him, Ricky?
I like him okay.
How much do we like him?
Okay.
Look, I have an early day 3 grade on Oscar Delp. It is hard for me to look at the production that he has shown off, right? And say that it is an easy translation and projection to make that he is going to be a volume player at the next level. What I do think he brings, I think he brings a solid blocking component to his game. He's a physical football player. He's got the intangibles that you like as a tough player. He played through a fractured foot for the duration of this season for Georgia. Did everything that was asked of him. He had some personnel things where he was behind Brock Bowers for a little bit. Then they got rid of their offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, and bring in a guy that didn't want to throw the ball more than 7 yards down the field. And that's why Zachariah Branch accumulated 100,000 friggin' receptions.
That's the point right there. That's the point.
Yep.
And when you look at that offense of the guys that come from that offense, especially the pass catchers, who they are with Gunnar Stockton at quarterback.
Yep.
You have to take that into consideration. And I know nobody cares about this, but my son on the high school team that he played for the former offensive coordinator for Gunnar Stockton here in high school in Georgia. And when Gunnar went over to Georgia, as a matter of fact, David Green was also his offensive coordinator, the former Georgia quarterback. But when Gunnar went to Georgia, they tailored their offense to who Gunnar is. And in high school, all Gunnar threw was a bunch of screen passes and a few shots. And they didn't use the tight end much, and they didn't use the outside receivers much besides throwing the bubble and the tunnel stuff to them. Georgia ran the same offense that Gunnar operated in high school, and guys like Delp and other guys, I think, in the offense suffered as a result. So I don't think people realize who those guys really are in terms of talent, because I think if Monken would have stayed there calling plays at Georgia, Delp would have been more like, he's not the talent of Bowers, but he came in behind him and they trusted him because there was a vision for him being more of a pass catching tight end. It just didn't work within the framework of the offense they end up deploying at Georgia with Gunnar Stockton. With a different quarterback, you get a different Delp. And I think Delp has more potential than what he showed at Georgia. And I'm telling you, man, I would draft him.
It's a lot of projecting. What can you see off of the limited?
But you can see some really good things from him, and you can see that when the ball is in his hands, he can make it happen. And when you look at a tight end, what you want is that if you can drop it off to him 5-6 yards on a short pass, and you get him in a little bit of space, can he turn that into something major? One of the gripes that I have with JT Sanders as a tight end is that his transition from a pass receiver to a ball carrier is not fluid. He does not have that transition to his game. Tommy Tremble, a little bit more so, but not all the way of what you would like. And Mitch Evans, as sound as he is, Mitch Evans, I think, is a high floor 2 tight end type of guy, which is valuable in an offense. It's not to say that he's a bad player. JJ, don't hate me because of that. But, I had a high comp for him. Like the ceiling comp for Mitch Evans was like a Pat Fryermuth. And Pat Fryermuth is a solid tight end. He's not a needle mover necessarily. Can Oscar Delp be a needle mover? I'm not sure. A couple players I want to cycle through real quick, though, just to throw them out.
Katie did want to see the big board, too.
Yeah, and here it is, Katie. This is what you got. Oscar Delp is the number 1 player on their board. Cassius Howell, the edge rusher out of Texas A&M, a physical outlier, but an absolute juice box off of the side. He's going to bring the lightning. Grayson Halton is a guy that I'm very high on, defensive interior player out of Oklahoma. You talk about a pass rush from the interior. Grayson Halton has it. This is a very disruptive football player. A bit lighter. He would have to be a little bit more of that 5 tech, I think, position for us in our system. But he is a very disruptive player. Also on the defensive side, though, one thing I did want to bring up, we met with Dominic Orange. I like Dominic Orange a lot. I think that this is a player that makes a lot of sense for us as well. Near 34-inch arms, 6'2", 328. You talk about replacing A'Shawn Robinson or giving some flexibility to move players along that defensive front. I think that Dominique Orange allows a very big jumbo package of Bobby Brown, Derek Brown, and Dominique Orange is a crazy physical setup right there on that front. And that is appealing when you talk about keeping that second level clean, when you talk about bringing pressure and having alleys for pressure players to fly through. I think that all of those things are really intriguing. So I would definitely keep that in mind. Secondary players are out for me, so the Bud Clarks and the Hezekiah Masses
We
don't
also
matter.
have not touched offense, gentlemen. So let's just keep that in mind.
So offense, we did talk about Delp. Connor Liu is still sitting right there. Offensive tackles, I'm not sure that you go there at this point. If you do, Travis Burke would probably be the guy that I would look at down there. Offensive guard.
I like Bell.
Markel Bell. I like Markel Bell too. I wonder about him in a zone, Kev. He's got some real flexibility issues on the move. Like he's, 6'9", 350 pounds. He's going to have some physical limitations that I worry a little bit about. If you could get him on a quick set and immediately touch on somebody, he's going to dominate that. But as far as pass rushers, the bendier, quicker guys, give him a little bit of fits. When he's quick into his drops or his sets, he can anchor with the best of them, though. Like he can absolutely stalwart and receive and absorb pressure. But I worry about him a little bit as a zone blocker, a little bit more than like a gap scheme.
I think we look at center or a tight end here. That's my vote.
So you got Connor Liu and Oscar Delp are really the guys.
I won't say that we should go offense just for the sake of going offense because we haven't gone there yet. I think we look for value. Ricky, you showed me a guy on defensive line, and this is after me being super high on, going for Delp. I think a guy that people are going to regret not drafting, and I know he's not like an interior defensive line, but is the Cassius Howard. I know he doesn't fit our mold, but he's going to be a steal, especially at 83.
Round one.
Yeah, and you got a chance to get him right here. He's like taking a flyer on a Princely, right? And you put those guys in camp, and you find out who wants it more. And I think they probably know who Cassius Howard was. He there last year with Scorton, or
he was. Yep.
Okay, so I'd imagine that they've watched him. And I know when we played him this year, Notre Dame played him. He was a headache. So that's just something to consider. But then also Grayson Halton. I think I've seen, people mention him as like one of the better interior pass rushers in the draft.
Yep.
And we need that.
Yep.
We didn't get that necessarily from Wharton. And if you can draft the guy, I think it's a great value to get him at 83 if you can. And then big citrus, I was drinking all the Kool-Aid with that, because for other reasons. So I think those are three defensive options, where I think their value is kind of too hard to just pass over. If you feel like you can still address offense, either on day 3, or you can move back up into the 3rd round and see if you can still get one of your offensive guys.
All right, guys.
Real quick. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, Kev, what you got?
So if you go back to defensive tackles, just a couple things. We was talking about the presence that A'Shawn Robinson brings.
Yep.
Rick, you didn't touch on it, but I saw it. If you pull up his profile again, Dominique Orange.
Oh, Dominique Orange, yeah. I thought you were going Daryl Jackson.
Scroll down real quick. Right there. He can two-gap while stationary or while on the move against zone blocks. And this key right here, he can stack and shed. Listen, that's what A'Shawn Robinson did at a very high degree. For those who don't know what stack and shed means, he stacks up that offensive line, stops him in his tracks, and he dislodges from him quickly. And again, these are the things that's in the trenches that doesn't have a set C stack to it, but makes all the difference in, showing up that run defense on the interior between the A and B gap. When they try to do those double teams and, it creates a clog and things like that. Like, these are the traits, and since a lot of teams like to run zones, the fact that he can hold his own against zone blocking schemes, that is huge. you know, and you know, as you see for odd and hybrid front schemes, which what the Panthers use, you know, this is definitely a guy that, you know, in that regards, that I think would be that running mate interior, because you got to think about with Wharton. I think he signed a 3-year deal, but I think he can be cut after the second one. So if Wharton doesn't do his thing, bam, you know, plug and play, you know, right here. Matter of fact, I think Orange, even with the Wharton playing well, would get some burn and get some reps. And one last thing, the last steal of the day 3, I'll name on try to keep out of linebacker, Jack Kelly out of BYU.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
I'm a Jack Kelly
I will
fan
say
as well.
this. Canal has talked about bringing in competition for the center. Luke was signed to a 1-year deal. They don't have anyone in the pipeline. So that if you guys think we can get someone at 119, that's still valuable for that center position. But we need to consider that here. I know you're high on defense. I know you're high on defense, but we still got to look at center.
Yeah, center. I mean, you got.
Go ahead.
No, you got Brian Parker is the thing is these rankings would show that most of these guys are going to fly off before our next pick, but you don't know what's going to happen because we're still looking at this big board that has Oscar Delpa as their 59th rank, Cassius Howell is 61, Grayson Halton 66, and we're at pick 83. So some of these guys may continue to fall where you may be able to look into one of those Brian Parker types that I think that they would have some interest in because of that versatility, you know, in the Brady Christensen fold, right? Of that type of player. I think that that's still possible. You got the Pat Coogan that played at Indiana and was a Notre Dame guy as well. So like you have that opportunity to grab one of those guys later that I do think is value. I think that Delp is got to be in play here too, though, because if you're talking about an offensive playmaker, I just think that is intriguing. It doesn't necessarily mean that it like is my surefire pick because I like Dominic Orange a lot too, Kev. He's my defensive tackle 3 in this entire class. I have a 2nd-round grade on the Big Citrus. I think that he is a much better player than people are giving him credit for. I talked in detail, Kev, about the same thing you did. His ability to violently stack up offensive linemen and move them when it is time to move them is an invaluable tool, man, for a guy that plays his position, and he does it at a really high level. Edgar, Curtis,
yep.
Do y'all have a lean here? Because we got to make a pick. We're at the point where we're only on pick 3, and we got to get through these next picks.
Edgar, we haven't heard from you in a bit. Who do you got here?
I like Delp. I know that there's concerns about production, but I lean on what JJ said about his quarterback play. I think I told Ricky earlier today, like if they go tight end, they got to go early because even though it's a deep class, like you have essentially like a room that can like if you add someone on day 3 as a tight end and you bring them in, it doesn't add anything. Like you're not adding anything extra. And so like I think Delp is a special athlete. Doesn't have the production, but like if you're gonna go tight end, if you're gonna get the value, like Delp is the guy that I like. I can go other directions as well, but if you ask me, like I really like the idea. I know we don't go for offense's sake. If we go defense, I'm a big citrus fan, and not drinking the Kool-Aid, but drinking the OJ. Ricky.
Yeah.
Hey, Ricky. I mean, if we were in the draft room right now, I mean, this is our draft.
That's right.
Curtis said we haven't addressed offense.
Yep.
I feel like Delp would be the highest rated tight end here.
Yep, without a doubt.
I will just say this: I'm center for my vote. I just want to make this quick.
Okay,
so we can get this thing moving.
I got you. So,
Carolina hasn't hit on a day 2 tight end. I mean, let's be real about that.
Yep.
They have not hit on a day 2 tight end.
I mean, but they have been tied to Delp, right?
Yeah, and they haven't drafted to Edgar's point, the athlete part for Delp is a significant difference to what they have drafted in those positions prior. Delp is a lot more in that Tucker Kraft type of mold where he is a big time athlete and can create with the ball in his hands. And we've seen what guys like that can do when they get to the NFL and in good situations.
Well, let me ask you guys this. I don't care if it's even what's my man's name, Washington, that went to Pittsburgh, right?
Darnell Washington.
Which of these tight ends from this Georgia run has gone to the NFL and not looked pretty good in some way?
Yeah.
They've all been good.
Yep.
And you probably got the most athletic from an athletic profile. He's right there with Bowers.
Mm-hmm.
He's not as good as Bowers, obviously. I'm not saying that. But pick Delp here, man. And then let's take a look at what it would take to get back into the third.
Okay.
And see if we can get either a center or interior defensive lineman, whichever is the best available guy.
Let's go Delp here. Can we go Delp?
I say the trouble, that center out of Iowa, they're going to be there in day 3. You don't have to trade for him. That's our guy.
Yep, I love
That's
Logan
our
Jones.
guy.
Yep. And he's a terrific
Iowa.
zone blocker. Yeah.
Yes. What? He reminds me of Ron Khalil when I watched him. Seriously.
Yeah.
When Ron Khalil was at USC, when I watched him, that's who he put me in the mind frame of. Just to
All right,
just for you, Curtis. Just for you.
Let's go.
All right, we're going Delp.
Let's go
Delp,
Delp.
sound good, everybody?
Boom.
Yeah, as it's running, I do want to answer Curtis's center question. Like, I love a lot of guards that are available on day 3 that can also play center. And so,
Damn you, Chargers!
I know it.
If you look at the center list and you're like, it got bare really quickly, like, I do like some of those guards. I like Trey Zoon. We talked about Brian Parker.
Mhm.
We talked about Fabechi the White. Like, there's a lot of great guards that could also play center. And call me that, like, not a hater, but like just doubtful. Like, last year, Cade Mays to our eye test was way better than Austin Corbett, yet they still said Austin Corbett won the preseason battle. And so it'll take a lot for me to believe, even though they want competition, that this staff trusts a rookie over a veteran to be like on the line and be the captain.
I don't think they do. I don't think they trust Luke, but that's my opinion. That contract was not that great.
I don't trust Luke, but I'm just saying I think they like better. Like, this is just my perception of it. Obviously, this is our mock draft, so it doesn't have to do with what they say. But as someone that's like analyzing what the Panthers like to do, like, I was so frustrated that they said like, oh, the preseason battle was won by Austin Corbett, and we didn't even see them. Like, we didn't even give Cade Mays a shot. So it's like, do you really care about, production, or are you just favoring like your veterans, like your guys?
Okay, so we made it all the way to our pick, boys. I let it run while you guys were having that conversation. And there's some good news. Brian Parker II, center out of
Send
Duke.
it in.
He's in there. I think that is a pick that makes a lot of sense for his versatility. From a defensive standpoint, we are still looking at Kyle Lewis is still on the board. Chris McClellan is another defensive interior player that 6 sacks this past year. I think that as a disruptor, he has it. He's got the 34-inch arms. Can absolutely do what we would look for from him. I do wonder a little bit. He's not Dominic Orange in the ability to stack and shed. I think that he's a little bit more of a disruptive type of player, and he doesn't have a great get off for a disruptive player, which is really interesting. He's a little bit more of a cleanup artist, but he does have good tools that can turn him into a solid player at the next level. But I have a hard time passing up a guy like Brian Parker personally when I see this list.
And the chat says Parker, and I think we give the chat one pick. We're not going to do Eli Heidenreich this draft. I'm tired of that pick. So I think we do a chat pick here with Brian Parker.
Trey Zoon is still there too. Logan Jones is still there as well.
I've heard good things about Trey Zoon.
And now look, the other thing
Trey
is when
Zoon.
you look at wide receiver though, just to throw this out here because I want to, Deion Burks was sitting there. So you could double tap on the offensive weapons here and give an Oscar Delp and a Deion Burks and potentially look at Trey Zoon in pick 5, right? With your 5th round pick. Shore up 2 playmakers on offense. You've got 2 secondary players and then go heavy on the trenches with the last picks. Maybe Logan Jones falls to
on Malachi
158.
Fields right there. Just don't sleep on Malachi Fields.
I do sleep on him. I hate to tell you that. I'm a sleeper.
I didn't sleep on him. I didn't sleep on him.
No,
Hey,
Edgar likes him a lot.
Hey, look,
I don't like him. I'm intrigued by his fit in the room.
Hey, can we look at my boy out of Wisconsin at edge?
Oh, yeah,
I'm just
what?
curious if he's still
For what?
there.
Yeah, he's there. Mason.
Hell
Rudolph.
yeah, he's there. Send
he's
that
there.
in.
No.
yeah, I mean, you were just crying about offense, Curtis.
Right.
and now-
If we're drafting an edge rusher right here, it ain't gonna be Mason Rager. That's gonna be
You went
Jay
from
Sean
crying about
Barham.
offense and centers
Give me
and now you want
Jay
Mason
Sean
Rager.
Barham, who can play a little bit of off ball and edge if you want to get real spicy here.
I think we go get your center. I mean, if that's what we
Yeah,
need,
it's
if y'all
Parker.
understand that's what
Brian
we need. Let's go
Parker
get our
center.
Okay, so hold on though. Is it Brian Parker or is it Logan Jones? Because Kev just waxed poetically about Logan Jones, and I have Logan Jones ranked much higher than Brian Parker.
I like
I would
either.
go with the Iowa guy.
I like Logan Jones a lot, man.
I would say this: if you was a fan of Ron Khalil,
you go with them Farmer Boys. Damn it, give me Logan Jones.
All
Give me
right,
Logan
all right.
Jones, man.
Ricky, or can you click on that profile again? It's
Yeah,
something that
Logan.
JJ will like.
Yeah.
It says Logan Jones was the Remington Award winner in 2025.
Hey, they don't give awards out to
As well as the
So hold
leader
on,
of the
though.
Joe Moore
Let me
award-winning
ask-
Iowa. I mean, dude, he will be 25, but this is a former defensive tackle that transferred into the offensive line.
So he's
You
not-
talk about uprooting, Kev. I know this is going to be your love language right here. You talking about being able to displace with natural leverage, man. That is Logan
Oh.
Jones's game. You
Garrett
want to talk
doesn't
about?
like it. He doesn't
you
have
wanna
the
see-
guard center versatility.
Well, yeah, no, he doesn't have the versatility, but what he has is he can solidify that center position without a doubt. And
Do we
he does
have-
not
do
miss
we-
games.
Do we run a
some
zone
things
blocking
versatility. Yeah, some
We
things
do.
you just need to take versatility out. I want him to remove the ass that is in front of him. That is the guy right there. Because when you look at it, read what it says in that second paragraph. Elite zone blocking center.
Yep.
The second thing, expert level angle IQ. A lot of folks don't know what angle IQ means. That means that it's not just blocking the player, but the way that you position yourself to allow the hole to open up.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's more than just standing there titty bopping with somebody. You getting him at a place like you put your helmet on his hip, you drive your feet, you move him out of the way, and you got the gap. So for me, this, like I said, this right here, this, yeah,
Oh,
that's the guy.
Jones is T-Rex. No,
So hey,
Yeah.
Mr. Hunky Dory.
31 inch arms.
Yeah, Mr. Hunky Dory. I will throw one thing back to you here about this. They say that about a lot of players. Ruben Bain, they talk about his T-Rex arms, and I have it actually in Ruben Bain's profile for the Carolina Draft Guide. Said he has T-Rex arms. Yeah, he does. And guess what? T-Rex was a bad motherfucker back then. Like, T-Rex was the king of the dinosaurs. So if you want to say that he's got T-Rex arms, if you give me a T-Rex, man, and he can attack the way a T-Rex can, I'm okay with it. The other thing I'll point out, Kev is exactly right about that. The angle IQ, that is something that Cade Mays struggled with a lot. And reaching
Yes.
landmarks and being on time with reaching his landmarks was the
Yes.
situation he struggled with a lot. And it showed up for a guy as big and physical as Cade Mays was. He was out of place and he was lost a lot in that second level. I literally can show you highlight clips that I still have clipped out of Cade Mays doing actual pirouettes in the second level looking for his landmark. And that is not something you will see with Logan Jones. What we do with a lot of our actions on the offensive line and getting guys out to that second level and pulling behind, looking for those cuts in that zone offense, that is what Logan Jones excels at. I am a big proponent of Logan Jones and the fit that he has here. I do not worry about the arm length for Logan Jones. I think that he is a really, really solid pick here, and it's a pick that I could get behind if you guys like it.
And another trait, they say elite stunt vision. How many times have we seen teams do the tackle in loop and blow right up the A gap?
Yep.
Problem solved right here.
All right, let's make the pick and let's move this thing along.
All right, let's
Run
go
it in,
Logan
man.
Jones. Let's do
Logan
it.
Jones, we got a center.
I love it. Guys, I'm very happy so far with this.
Yeah.
I'm
We should
very
be.
pleased so far.
Damn the Chargers for taking orange, though.
Can you go
I
back
know
to
it.
our picks just so everyone in the chat can see kind of where we went if
Yeah.
folks tuned in late?
Yep. Right now, so far, we went Dylan Thieneman at 19, Trace Stukes at 51, Oscar Delp at 83, and Logan Jones at 119. And that brings us to our current pick at 158, which we have a stack here at 158 and 159. The board is playing out right now. We will look to see where
Burks
it
is
ends
still
up.
there.
We're gonna get Burks, baby.
Burks,
There it
look at
is.
that. You
Why would they
felt-
have him dropping like that? What's the issue with him?
He's small, man. He's small, and like he
5'9".
does have some concentration issues. He's had a little bit of injuries as well. He can really separate when he's on time. His stems are okay. He doesn't necessarily stack all that well, but you know what? If you get him into space and you can scheme him, I know a lot of people hate this idea about scheme touches, right? Like that's always like this hot button terminology that people are like, oh, but you got to scheme him touches. You got to get him the ball. Why would you not want to get an explosive guy the football, man? Like, what are we talking about? We don't have guys on this roster right now that you could scheme open in space and say, hey, go do your thing. I don't think it's a negative thing, man.
It's not. It's,
Like
I mean,
the term game manager.
It's like game
Can we
manager.
look at the wide receivers besides Burks just to see? Someone
Yeah.
asked in the chat.
Dribbling.
Hold on.
I think
Let's
Dribbling
see.
and Burks. are
Stribling
Yeah.
is there. Stribling is there.
let's see.
Cyrus the Virus Allen.
Let's
There's
go
a guy-
with Burks, and then we can kind
know
of
what?
talk
Hey,
long
real
and hard
quick.
about this next pick. So we're not sitting here
Hide
another hour.
and right. That's
No,
an
we're
interesting
not
pick.
making a hide and right
We're
pick.
not doing that. We're not getting. We're not getting Chris
time.
Oh, whoa.
Hold up. Huh.
We got back to back stuff, right? We got
back to backs. And so what I'm
That's
saying
what I'm
is,
saying.
let's go Burks. Grab
Let's go
Burks. Grab Burks. And then the conversation we need to have. Why the hell would I trade 159 and 200 for 160 and 236?
Hell no.
The Packers think that I'm drunker than I am right now. That's crazy. I've had one shot of tequila, Green Bay. You need to stop eating that cheese.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a guy that's intriguing right here,
Uh-huh.
and I know. I mean, I want Capehart number one, but a guy that's intriguing right there is that's another guy too. Is Singleton from Penn State.
Yeah, the running back, Nick Singleton.
What about the D tackle from A&M? I think Carolina has been looking at him.
That's the guy that I was high on that I had y'all draft, a couple months ago too.
Oh,
Curtis Tyler
yeah.
Onyedem.
Yeah.
Let's look
30.
at their profiles and compare
Yeah,
them.
we haven't gotten a D tackle, have we?
No.
I know. No, we haven't. But I think Capehart would be my guy there.
No.
There's
I think
one.
we're
There's
good.
one
I'm
other.
gonna get us the Clemson guy. Y'all promised me.
No,
the
we're not.
Clemson guy.
I've been told every year Clemson's going to be a playoff team.
But y'all
Draft
promised
this
me
one.
on day
Come
one.
on.
On Thursday, y'all promised me, and now it's Saturday.
You're right. Hold on though. Can I offer just one other player because we have not drafted a linebacker, and we've had these conversations about linebacker. Keyshawn Elliott, guys. I'm telling you, this dude is a baller, man. This dude can really play. I think he's going to be a really good NFL football player, man. I really, really do.
And I think we can get that D
But how good is
tackle
he going to
last
be with Turk
round.
Wharton opening up holes for him? I mean, or protecting him.
I hear you.
Hey, check out Jack Kelly's profile while we're here in linebacker.
I do like Jack Kelly too. And Jack Kelly's a guy that you could get at pick 200, to be honest.
Let's wait for Jack Kelly then.
6'2",
That's my high school
240.
English teacher, Jack Kelly.
I'm not
And
opposed
that
to it.
240, that 240 can move in coverage, guys. That's not just a run thumper.
Yep. And there's still Bryce Betcher, the linebacker. If you want to get the Caucasian collision back together of Dylan Thieneman.
I do like him. I won't lie. When
Uh-huh.
I watched Oregon play, I remember Thieneman on defense, and I remember him, and they acted like every play they had
Wait
to
a
make the play.
minute. You say Caucasian
I like
collision.
Bell.
The Caucasian collision, man. That's what they called each other, bro. That's what Dylan Thieneman and Bryce Betcher called each other. They called each other the Caucasian collision.
Oh, we should almost draft that just so we can put that in the PR.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. We have not drafted an offensive tackle either. Just to throw
It's
that
too
out there.
late. That
And we
ship
probably
is sailed,
won't.
y'all.
We
That
probably
ship is
shouldn't
sailed.
because
We're
you don't
not
want
going-
anybody
Bell's
to
still
get
there.
drafted
Bell is still there.
I like
Hello.
Markel Bell.
Move
I
it
like
along.
Bell. Dude, we're one
You
injury.
don't want
We're
a
talking about
day
one
three
injuries
person
away.
blocking for Bryce.
We talked about injuries away. If you
What
get
do you
an
mean?
injury,
What do you
it's
mean?
not
We
gonna
got
nobody.
Stone for sight waiting in the wings, baby.
That's what Edgar's talking about.
That's what Ricky's talking about.
Oh, God, please don't make me talk about that.
least he
We
just-
still got Brady
we get-
Christensen unsigned.
He's still
Brady's
injured.
coming home. Brady's coming home, by the way.
All right, so defense.
Are you breaking something, JJ?
I'm not. I don't think anybody else is going to like try to
No,
get him.
yeah,
so
I
he's gonna have to
wouldn't be
come back
shocked
home.
by that.
I
either.
like Cake Part 2, though, man. I do.
You should
I
go
like
get K Part. You promised me.
I like a
Capehart.
line. Let's go with one of those linebackers you guys were talking about and get that D tackle.
Stop
in the
it.
next
Stop
round.
it, Curtis. It's time for K Part. We go get Jack Kelly later. We're getting K Part right here.
No, I
And then you
like.
can end it.
Can we see the
Capehart and Kelly.
linebackers one more time?
If I was getting a linebacker here, I would get Torian York. I would say I don't care about his size. I would just go get the best baller out there.
I love Torian. He's just so small, man, but I love his game so much. You want to talk about cerebral? Man, he's got it.
So fun.
He's
so
like a low.
fun.
He's
5'10".
like
That's Sam Mills size, ain't it?
It's but you know what's interesting, man? He really doesn't play that small, man. He is not afraid of
is he
contact.
really 5'10"?
Yeah. He's small, man.
Hold on. What? How tall was Ivan Pace Jr.?
Yeah, same size.
Hey,
About
let's
the
keep
same
this
size.
moving so we can get Edgar in for this last pick. So let's
sorry.
make a pick here and let's
You're
keep
good,
it
you're
moving.
good.
Y'all
So-
know K Part is the best pick right here. I mean,
Or Onyedem. I
Who we
like
kidding?
Onyedem too, though.
Who are we kidding, man?
All right, Kevin, start with you. Who's your pick?
For me.
All right, you're up. Edgar, go.
No,
He's
stop.
taking too long.
Stop. Kev, what do you think, man?
Me, give me Kelly.
All right, Edgar.
I like Bell, but I also like all the guys. I like Cape Hard. I like Onyedem. I like them all. But
You
if
get
have to
one. Pick one.
I like Bell.
Bell. All right, JJ, what do you got?
K-Park.
Okay.
Curtis.
I like Bruce. Take those Oregon guys up. Let's do it.
Bryce Betcher.
Betcher's going to be there later.
I think he's there at the end.
He's going to be there.
Think so?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, how realistic is any of it? We're just taking the guys that are available to us right now, right?
Ooh, can I change mine back to Bell?
You like Markel Bell
thank
too?
you, Kev.
Yeah. Because with Rashid and Moulton there, that would give our offensive line coach Gilbert time to mold him, and he'd be ready.
A 6-rounder. Come on, y'all.
Nah, but you know what, man?
But you're looking at the round.
Look at all
not
the experts.
talent.
They said if you ain't getting offensive tackle in the first 1 or 2 rounds, you ain't getting anyone.
And man,
Where was Rasheed Walker?
One of the same experts that said. One of these same experts said Jimmy Clausen was gonna be the best, so they quit. I'm just saying.
Come on now.
Yeah, Bryce ain't throwing a 6'9" guy, bro. Like that's not.
We moved that ship to sail with the offensive tackle. If we didn't get one early, we ain't getting anyone.
Where was Rasheed Walker drafted?
7.
What round?
7.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, thank you, Edgar. Thank you, Edgar.
and how stacked was that offensive line group that year? Let's go back to that. Let's just not cherry pick a guy and say he was picked. We could go to Trey Smith in Kansas City. How deep was that offensive line group in that draft? Let's be real here.
He fell because of injury, but like you're about to protect Bryce Young, your franchise quarterback, his blindside with a 7th rounder. So, and we're also like late in this draft, and so like if we're gonna go get somebody, like get the big hoss, get Markel Bell, and protect. Like you need an insurance policy for your insurance policy.
I just don't know how well.
And we still don't have a swing. And we still don't have a swing tackle because Joe's retired.
Sean Robinson either.
I just worry about Markel Bell in some of these like outside wide zone concepts. I really do worry about him in that manner.
I would say red shirt him a year. I like how Gilbert. Look how Gilbert improved. Icky this past year. So
yeah.
I'm telling you, man, you don't have a replacement for Ashawn.
Do y'all potentially want to replace both tackles next year? Look for 2 tackles.
That was
because Walker's on a 1-year deal. Moulton's retiring. We don't know what Icky's going to do. Is he going to be the same Icky though? We're talking about a patella tendon. Like that does a lot with the mobility.
Offensive linemen have come back from it.
Not offensive linemen.
How about the other possibility too, though, that you draft a guy like whether it's Keyshawn Elliott, whether it's a guy like Jack Kelly, whether it's Bryce Betcher, and what they can do as a special teams contributor right away as well, because it's a 3-phase game and they can come in and they can shore up that element as well and offer the depth that if you're talking about developing, why would you not have Keyshawn Elliott challenge a guy like Trevin Wallace and force him to win that job, force Claude Sherless to win that job that he's currently holding? Instead of just being hey, man, you're on the roster, so you got this position, right? When you look at the defensive line, I'm with you. I want a replacement for Ashawn Robinson. I'm not entirely sure that whoever you get in the 5th is going to come in and fill that role. I think that Cam Jackson, they obviously have high hopes for Cam Jackson. I don't think that can be negated. I think that Bobby Brown is going to play better this year. I think that with more usage, with more consistent usage, I think that Bobby Brown is really, really good for what we asked with that 1.5, 2-gap type of system. With a little bit of pass rush ability as well from multiple alignments on that defensive front. And then I still think Turk Wharton, he was out for a lot of it. I hope that it's going to be better, but you still have to understand they did allocate some funds into that and still have hopes for him playing his role in that defensive front as well. So I'm not opposed to DeMonte Capehart. I like DeMonte Capehart. I think that he's a pretty dang good prospect, especially at this position in the draft. But the linebacker is still intriguing to me because I think that that's a thinner position right now for the Carolina Panthers.
All right, so I moved my pick to Elliott. So we got 2 for Elliott, 2 for Bell. JJ's in the middle at D-tackle, and we have the chat saying Elliott. So that's the pick. Let's move forward.
I hate that. Hate.
What about Onyedem, guys? You don't like him either?
Because Ricky at his heart, he knows we need a D tackle. He just didn't want to.
I'm fine with that too. I don't mind that guy either. We've
Oh,
took
you
him
don't
in a
mind
couple
Onyedem,
of
but you mind Capon.
No, I don't like. No, we're moving off of Clemson. We're done with that team.
You just like Jerry Richardson and the rest of them guys, man. That's why we can't get any progress over here in Lincoln County.
And then offensive tackle, we were looking at Markel Bell. Bell, I just worry about with the movement, man. Emil Wagner. Anybody interested in Emil Wagner at all?
Give him to me. Give me one guy.
He wants some Notre Dame or Clemson.
Hey, let's pick a guy. Seriously.
Where we at? I mean, we still on
Ring
the
my
same
bell. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
make
you
a
know
pick
you
here.
were Capon. I thought we had moved on, but I thought we was on to 200.
No, we're not.
All right. We're gonna go Markel Bell here.
No.
Yes. Yes.
No,
Yes.
absolutely
Yes. Yes.
Edgar,
Yes.
and Kevin both like the offensive tackle. They like the development there.
And no one else does.
Well,
Nobody
where's
else.
Capon? Where's
Emil
Capon?
Wagner is better than Markel Bell.
I like Emil Wagner too.
Cap.
I talked into that.
He's better than Markel Bell.
Cap. That's Cap. When you
I
think
don't
about
like Wagner.
better as far as projecting to our type of scheme, that's Cap. Now in college, you got a better argument.
I mean, that's the only argument we know. That's the only argument.
All
we
right,
see.
Rick, you just make a pick. Let's move.
Y'all are gonna hate me, whatever I do here. Okay.
Capart.
Oh, he
Yeah.
took it.
Oh, what?
There you go. Now, JJ, shut up over there.
Now listen to me. We're gonna go Capart here because we've satisfied at least trenches. We drafted a trench player. I did not get the linebacker that I wanted. We're gonna get down here to our next pick, and we're
not
gonna take a
taking
look.
Bell.
We're gonna take a look at what we have offensive tackle wise. Pause the
The
draft.
linebacker.
You
I
gonna
could
get-
offer right now pick
you're gonna get some
200
grace
and a
with it,
future
because
seventh to get
you're a
up and
good
get
man.
Markel Bell.
You're a good man.
Oh,
Oh, he
there
just
we go.
went. He went to
To
the
the Saints.
Saints.
Kevin's gonna have just a shit fit with me when this screen goes back to our cameras. Kevin's gonna say, "Hey guys, it's been fun. I'm not gonna ever do this draft."
Hey, I'll
ever
tell you
again."
what. You can keep this on record. If Markel Bell is worth the damn in the NFL, Kev, I will buy you a jersey of his. But I don't think it's going to happen.
It won't happen.
All right, so hold on.
I feel like this. I'm 2 for 2 in jersey bets in the last 3 years. I'm just saying.
You guys
Yes,
see my guy
Kev.
Keyshawn Elliott sitting right here?
Let's do it. There we go. Send it in.
2 for 1.
End
Can
it.
we-
'cause
can we
gotta
grab
get
Keyshawn
going.
Elliott
Edgar's
here?
got to get going here soon. Let's
Okay.
end it.
I'm good
Keyshawn
with Elliott.
Let's go.
I was just curious who else was left.
Well,
Oh,
I already hit the
Roller
button.
was right there.
We didn't get
You can click
JJ
on all.
starting quarterback. What are we thinking?
Roller was right there. What you say?
we didn't get JJ starting quarterback. What are we thinking?
Oh, we're gonna get him. We're gonna get him as soon as the undrafted open up.
Yeah, that's
do you
the
like,
other
JJ?
part too. Is I do think that some of these quarterbacks, right? Like we've met with Baron Morton, which I don't know why we did that. I don't want anything to do with that. But Haynes King is there as far as like developmental. Mark Gronowski of Iowa.
Like Pavia
I like-
too. They
I like
Pavia.
Aguilar.
Strand.
I like Aguilar.
Pavia.
Strand is
really,
interesting,
man? I
too.
just don't see it with
No,
Pavia.
they do. I mean, there was I can't remember who would push that out. Where Carolina was one of the
Kev,
teams.
while we're sitting here letting this thing play out, Kev, are you familiar with Micah Pettis at all, the Florida State offensive tackle?
A little bit.
I'm a fan of
Smooth.
his.
Smooth is a FSU guy, so he's been talking about him. I just started looking into him live within the last 4 or 5 days.
Uh-huh. If you get a chance, get eyes on him, man, because I actually am much higher on him than this consensus. I've got him in my top 20 offensive tackles. And you talk about
Really?
natural size, 6'6", 346, a lot of experience as a starting left tackle in a high program. Good movement for a guy his size, man. Great anchor. I think you might enjoy his tape, Kev. So as a consolidation here, as an olive branch that I'm offering you, is that I will say that we'll give top priority to Micah Pettis as an undrafted free agent. We'll offer him the max UDFA contract, and we'll bring him in here, and we'll let Joe Gilbert get his hands on him if you're okay with that being the olive branch from me to you. No, that's a no.
Yeah,
You wanted
no. I mean, I vibes with Florida State, so I mean, yeah, that I'll take the olive branch.
I don't know why this stopped. Yeah, I am sorry that I ended up going Cape Park, but you know what? I agree with.
What did
JJ
we get on this grade here? What did they give us?
A B+.
That's an excellent draft, guys.
I think it's a really good draft, man. I think that it all makes a lot of sense. And you know what? If we remove, if say you don't like the particular player of Cape Park, look at the position at least, right? And say that we address the defensive tackle position for that defensive front because we lost a big part of it. I think that would be a smart way of approaching this. And I think that getting Keyshawn Elliott there with that last pick, as unrealistic as I think that is outstanding value. And I think we answered a lot of holes on this roster, at least from a depth perception and getting developmental players that could really turn into key pieces for this defense.
Ricky, save that for me and send it my way.
Hey, I'm gonna tell
so
you.
What's
like,
the GPA for this? 3 A's, 2 B's, and 2 C's.
That's like a.
Let's see. That's 12. Let's see. Plus 3. That's 18.
2.85. I don't know.
22 divided by 7.
I don't
looking
care
at about a 3.25 GPA.
Yeah, 3.25. That ain't bad, man. That was like a whole number higher than I had in high school. But you know what, Kev? If it makes you feel any better too, we got our Logan Jones pick, and we fought hard for that one. So we got our T-Rex arm center that we believe in, and we fought for that one. And JJ, you got your Clemson player and the defensive tackle that you wanted. We got Oscar Delp that multiple people wanted here. Trey Stooks, Dylan Thieneman to start this thing off was killer. And then getting Deion Burks as the little cherry on top that's just going to run rampant on the field. I'm very pleased with this draft. And if this unfolded this way tomorrow night on at least the first round, I would be ecstatic. And if this was the weekend output, man, sign me up.
Yeah, I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. I know we had, close to 850 in almost a 3-hour show. So we appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in. The chat was lively. Thank you guys. All the super chats. Appreciate it. Again, we're back tomorrow, live watch party, 7:45. We're starting. Edgar, Ricky, and I will be on there. We'll have a couple other people coming in and out throughout the draft. So stay tuned for that. Live reaction to the first round. And we also will be giving away a jersey for the first round pick. So whoever the Panthers pick, we will be giving you guys a jersey. So tune in for that. We'll send out more details in the morning. Appreciate every single one of you guys over this off season who's tuned in. Want to thank Ricky and Edgar again. Check out their draft guide. Watch it. Look at it tomorrow as the draft is happening. It gives you great insight into what Carolina could be looking at, and it is solely focused on this team. So check out that. And those guys spent a lot of time on that. Send them some money on Venmo. I hate to beg for money, but Ricky's worked his ass off with it. Edgar's worked his ass off with it. Send him a couple bucks. Most people do not do that stuff for free. So please do that if you can, or if you're willing. But no, we appreciate every single one of you. JJ, Kevin, Edgar, thank you guys. I know this has been a tradition for us since me and Bryson started this thing in 2021. So to get you guys on every year is always a fun time. We
shout out 4-Man Rush. Shout out Panthers culture. Follow
appreciate you guys. And as always, keep pounding.